So,
What, are we live?
hello everybody. Right, so we are back in. I'm going to jump onto our Facebook feed just to make sure that it's working again.
Mine says it's starting soon.
Took us to an old stream, that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think we're okay.
Mine says it's starting soon.
That's the old link. So that we've started a new link, so it'll generate. No, Lee, it's generated a new thing. So we are live again now. I'm just on my phone making sure.
You're going to need to tell everyone that we've changed.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we're working again now. So,
we need to share it and get people on because there's no one on.
Yeah, no, I know. That's fine. Okay, so let me just put it on the socials again. There we go. So we're back live after.
It's still stuck on mine.
Yeah, so I'm going to send that. So if you go onto my Twitter, Kev. Oh, there we go. All back and working. So Glazing Insider. Hello, good evening, Glazing Insider. We're back live. So we're back live after sorting out the technical issue. There we go. Callum's back as well. So, right. Okay, people are finding us now. Excellent. Wonderful. Right then, Lee, could you also share on yours, please, pal? Yeah, it's working on my phone.
I'm just leaving a message on old YouTube link.
No, that's fine. Excellent. Right, so, do you know what? We haven't had a technical problem in about a year. It's been a long time since we've had a technical problem. Sod's law to be when we have guests on, but there we go. So the point I
better ask if everyone heard that, what we were talking about.
So, who's Guyan, Lee?
Who?
Your comment on YouTube just then.
Oh.
Never mind. Anyway, so Kev, you were making a point just as people were struggling to hear us audio-wise. I don't know if you can remember what you were educating about, but if you could.
Yeah, surprisingly, I do. It was again a part of the honesty is that I think our manufacturers that we use, they're honest with us, and because they're straight with us, we've got confidence in them. The same way as with us, with our customers, if we're honest with them, they've got confidence in us. But I think by the time it gets to Nigel, you get a lot of installers, I don't know, of manufacturers who get a bit more heads up, a bit more nervous, and a bit more agitated. And that agitation maybe comes from their customers. And in all fairness, you probably get some decent-sized commercial contracts that, like, they've got penalty clauses and all sorts involved. And they get onto their manufacturers and their suppliers, and they're getting angry and upset about which time it gets to Nigel, and they're probably pulling their hair out. And it's different for us because we're right in front of the customer, and because of that, we can kind of calm it down at the coalface. Whereas I can't imagine what it gets like at the end of the road because it's all kicking off by then, I'm sure.
Nigel, how much contact do you have, Nigel, with installers? I know obviously you're at the top of that supply chain, but do you have some good relationships with installers, or do you mainly just deal with fabricators?
No, it's really frustrating because we don't have a relationship with installers. So we're dealing with fabricators, and we're dealing with main contractors, and we're dealing with facade contractors. We don't have the opportunity to sit down with installers and go, "What do you want? How's it working?" So I don't want every installer in the world ringing me, but I just put that out there.
Hundreds and hundreds just on the phone all the time.
Yeah. It's just like all of a sudden it's like, wow.
This is where we'll put Nigel's mobile on the end.
Yeah, do not do that, Lee. I think for me, I didn't realise how important the installer was to our marketplace. And I think when we set the business up, it was all about trying to make sure that the installer had support. And our fabricators we're working with talk to our installers, and we make it work. But if there's a problem, can I help? I can help the fabricator. I can't help the installer.
Do you think, Nigel, that systems companies? I mean, I wrote a post the other day about that. In my view, that the supply chain should know more about each other. I was arguing installers should know more about how a fabrication business works, and vice versa. And I also said that systems companies should know how an installer works, and vice versa. And because my argument was, because if you go on social media at the minute, there's accusations of all sorts. There's anger spilling out when there's delays and product problems. And quite often, some of the accusations might be true. Some of them are probably not, and I know are not. But would more knowledge of each other's supply chain level help people understand operationally how things work? And you might get a bit more sympathy and leeway.
100%. We want to help everybody in the supply chain, right? So we're working upstream to help everyone downstream to install windows, right? At the moment, the supply chain is an absolute bloody nightmare, right? I mean, silly little things where you think everything's fine. We've sorted out our aluminium supply. We've sorted out we don't use polyamide, so we've sorted out our thermal brakes.
Look at you.
And then you've got some stupid little blocks that come from China. And you go, oh, for fuck's sake, they're going to take 6 months to arrive. It's an absolute nightmare. You can plan everything. And people think that you're being, installers who are 2 times away from us think we're being, tossers because we can't deliver the product. But we can't get the product. And we're trying. So it's really frustrating. But for me, I think that the key thing is that, again, it's about talking to people. It's about understanding that, right, we got a problem. I can get the aluminium in 4 weeks, not a problem. You may be able to get glass in 6 weeks, not a problem. But there's a couple of molded parts that will take 9 weeks, 10 weeks, right? And those molded parts mean that those doors look right, or it's the main part. Just listen to us, and we're trying. We're really trying. We're pulling in everything we can, but I can't make a boat on the South China Sea move quicker than it will, and that's where we're stuck. We need everybody in our supply chain to understand that. So, I'm a new entrant. Yeah, we're a new entrant into the market. Yeah, we're struggling. So,
Kev, you wanted to chip in there?
Yeah, I'm quite lucky on that score because my first entry into the window market, into the window business, was as an apprentice at Hayward Williams in Chester. Now, Hayward Williams formed out of Williams and Williams, and we're pretty much one of the biggest window manufacturers in the country. Yeah. And I started there at 18, shadowing the quality manager, he was the troubleshooter, if you like, before quality really became a thing back in 79, 80. And I learned more in 6 months than the people who've been there working there 50 years, yeah? And we had an extruder on site, we had a fittings manufacturer on site, but we could go anywhere else for stuff. And I knew that industry, that business, inside out. On site deliveries, I used to send there, locking up containers to making sure that they were safe on site, waiting for escrow agreements coming through, loads of stuff. So I've been right the way through it. So I feel your pain, Nigel. I also feel the manufacturer's pain, because I've been there, okay, good times and bad times, because we had some pretty hard times, but even to the degree when the VAT came in, we had order books that went on forever. But most of it was commercial, granted. But yeah, so I'm lucky that I do understand the chain all the way through. Okay, we didn't import anything like what goes on now. It was all manufactured in this country. But yeah, I'm able to talk to the manufacturers knowing the potential of the problems they've got. So I understand it a bit.
It's interesting. It's interesting because I've worked on the. I used to work as a contractor, so I employed installers, and I've worked as a fabricator, and then as a systems company. So I understand the whole like supply chain, and it's really bloody frustrating at the minute because none of us can give a straight answer
because we don't know. I mean, we're speaking with
the prices are going up all the time. Look at the LME for aluminium. We all install aluminium, yeah. And all my customers are complaining. We put the price up again. We're doing it as a surcharge because aluminium has never been as expensive as it is today.
Well, it reached a 13-year high. In fact, I think it might have even reached an all-time high 2 or 3 weeks ago.
All-time high.
Before it dropped back. It's dropped back a bit now, but it's still very high.
But don't forget, we order 3 months in advance.
Oh, don't tell me you bought at all-time highs.
Yeah, right. But you've got to, right? So you buy it 3 months, yeah? Which is why we all turn around and go, right, there's a surcharge because we're waiting for the price to come back down.
Yeah.
We expected it to come back down. It didn't, right? It's still up. I wish I had shares in some bauxite mine somewhere because I'd make a fortune. But, it's a bloody nightmare. All we try and do is sell aluminium at a proper rate. And at the moment, you can't do it. You can't suss it. You can't hedge it. You can't do anything. It's the highest, as you just said. It's at the highest rate it's ever been.
Let me ask you both a question, and give me your honest answer. Had we recycled more of our own product here? So if we recycle more aluminium and glass and PVC, would the pressures on the supply chain be as bad? Because we still rely a lot on virgin materials. Would it be as bad? Would it have helped solve some of the problems we've got? I'm not saying it would have solved everything, but could it have alleviated some pressures?
I can't really see it, to be honest, because we have the scrap man coming down all the time, and they always help themselves to all the scrap. It's always been valuable, and it's always been taken. I don't know how much of that finds its way straight back into the system, but it always gets recycled. I mean, where there's muck, there's brass, and the people who take this stuff earn a living on it, and why not? So it's always been going back into the system. How much of it goes back into virgin stuff? PVC, I know the likes of Uracell are kind of using lots of regrind and not special sort of virgin stuff on the skins and stuff now, and it's starting to be quite clever. But I don't think that's slowing them down or holding them up. But the scrap and the stuff with any value is being recycled pretty much the same as it always was.
What's your Nigel? Is all yours virgin, or are you looking at recycled stuff, or is it something you're going to be doing?
On a UPVC perspective, obviously, we're buying like old PVC. The massive point with Deceuninck is we're into sustainability. We've got our own facility in Belgium which regrinds and does stuff, and we use it. And to be honest,
been to that. It's a hell of a thing.
Yeah, my side's aluminium, so I could Rob can talk more about that.
But from the aluminium side, are you either using or going to be using a lot of recycled?
No,
aluminium?
I mean I think from the aluminium side, it's really struggling because you can argue that we're gonna use recycled aluminium and done. I think it was, if I look back 10 years ago, if you looked at the amount of recycled aluminium in the industry, would not have actually coped with the production of the Jaguar XJ. So aluminium is a product that stays there. It is recyclable.
Yep.
But its lifetime.
Yep.
Is much longer.
Infinite.
Yeah.
Is it infinite? I mean, I know PVC's 300 years. If you assume a life cycle of 30 years and it can be recycled 10 times, that would give you 300 years. But I assume aluminium's longer than that.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the Crystal Palace, what was it built out of? Cloth and glass.
Yeah. That wouldn't have got built now. There's no glass. How would you have built the Crystal Palace now? That wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
That'd be delayed.
It's aluminium, right? It's aluminium. There was a report I remember going back about 10 years ago, where someone did a report on a building in central London, and they looked and they found a glazing bead in aluminium that wasn't anodized. The rest of the building was anodized aluminium. It wasn't anodized. And they looked at it and went, actually, it hasn't degraded any differently to everything else in the building.
Wow.
And you go, well, that's great, fine. The frustrating thing from an aluminium perspective is when you look at the Green Guide, originally, aluminium was an A or an A+. Unfortunately, aluminium hasn't got as many people lobbying for them as PVC does.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, aluminium became a D and PVC became an A. And then this weird little thing came up, which was if your outer frame of your window is less than 0.9 kilograms a meter, then it's an A rated.
Nigel, you I don't know how well you know Kev, but you're about to
chomping at the bit.
You're about to trigger him on something here where I really want to give him the platform. But
thank you, Nigel. That was fantastic. The energy rating scheme's a scam.
Yeah, totally.
Whatever it is, it's a scam. It's designed by Pilkington to promote K, because if it wasn't there, they couldn't have sold K for the past 15 years. It's. I could go into the detail, but
I could see the minute Nigel you started mentioning letters, I could see Kev just turning a different shade of red in his head.
That is
at least we're on the same page.
No, I've been blocked off everything that the GGF have to say about anything. Absolutely corrupt from the top down on that basis. Pilkington running it, Pilkington sorted it, Pilkington introduced the WER on the back of the GGF, and that's it.
Well, bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, Kev. It's when you look at it, you've got to look at UPVC and has their own rights. Aluminium, it's totally different. When you look at the two, they're totally different products.
Well, one of the things I saw was that I'm taking it off the thing, but the GGF the glazing summit recently about the overheating issue. Well, what do you expect? You're putting low-iron glass in, you let all the UV into the house and heating the houses up. It's obvious. It's always been obvious, but no one seems to think of that at the time. But yeah, the aluminium is different because the frames aren't quite as insulated as the PVC frame.
It's all about glass.
Yeah. You get the right glazing in there, you can get the numbers down. You can. But then the numbers in relating to the WR are a scam anyway, so it's a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It's all about the glass, and I mean, we look at things, and I get frustrated because people talk about our product, and it's about we can do all the U values. It's not a problem. I don't care about U values. We can do it. You look at our competitors. And they go, oh yeah, our aluminium can do this. And you're going, no, it's not about the aluminium. It's not about that. It's just see the bigger picture. You've got to do it sensibly. Can you do the weight? If you're going to look at dual chamber, triple chamber, what are you going to do? For us, it's fun, and it can't be. As I'm going to wear my Deceuninck hat now, it's multi-material. there are options that you can do in plastic, and there are options you can do in aluminium. You've got to now start looking at how you can work the right product into the right position, and whether that's PVC, whether that's aluminium, whether that's steel, whether that's whatever it is, we've got to look at it sensibly now.
Speaking with from an aluminium standpoint, Kev and Nigel, I mean, you two are ideal for this. Would you say that the aluminium supply chain has fared better than say the PVC or the timber or the glass, or do you think that all is equally under pressure? And B, I mean, I personally think, and I don't know whether you agree with this, but residential aluminium, I think, is going to make a bit of a dent in the reign of PVC over the next 5 to 10 years for various reasons. I don't know where you two come down on that. I mean, probably ask Kev that first. Do you think your aluminium supply has been better than your PVC supply?
To be fair, as I say, they've all been pretty good with us. There's been an issue, but they tell us, and we wait a bit, and we get it. And I think that's fine. I know the supply chain is difficult, but as I said at the start, as long as you know what's going on, and as long as you have confidence in it, it's not so bad. I honestly don't think we've had that much problem with aluminium, because we always say to our customer, it's 12 weeks, it's 14 weeks. And if it's 6 weeks, well, it's 6 weeks, we'll go early, but we don't tell them for 1 minute it's going to be earlier.
No.
And I think they've been conditioned to expect that. Historically, aluminium's always been longer, because they might want a white inside, grey outside, or a pink or a blue, or whatever they want. It takes longer. You've got to make it specifically for them. So yeah, PVC, again, the odd colour, dual colours, foiled inside, outside, different colours. Yeah, you're a loser with that for a start, because it's just a special. Yeah. They don't want to break down to do special, because it's just not in their interest to. But as far as is it going to make a dent, it's fashion. That's what it comes down to, fashion. If the fashion is for aluminium, well, the people who follow fashion will choose aluminium. The people who want a nice, solid, good window in a 80s box or a 70s box will have PVC. Some of them will think, oh, I want my 70s box to look like it's built yesterday. And they'll go for it.
And why not?
Big events, bigger thing. Well, there you go. It's marvellous. And fancy electric blinds is going on. Well, there you go.
So,
it's fashion. And without getting heavy, fashion is where a lot of the waste comes in as well, because people could be living in a house with perfectly good windows and perfectly good stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't want them. And then they go on the skip, they get recycled. It's great arguing recycling is going to save the planet, but not if you can just reuse it and keep it in the house in the first place.
But don't you think this is where aluminium has an advantage here? Because as Nigel was saying, the lifespan here is infinite. If we're going to be subjective and we're going to say, if we're going to use a material for windows and doors, why not use aluminium?
Well, it doesn't work like that as far as I'm concerned, because the lifespan it never gets attained because people decide they don't like it anymore, so they rip it out, and that's the problem. That's where it's like when your toaster is falling apart, we think throw it away, buy a new one. You don't think to repair it, you don't think to do anything with it, you just get thrown away. And I think that's kind of one of the issues.
I suppose from Nigel's point of view, so long as the people replacing aluminium windows after 15 years instead of 30, so long as they pick aluminium again, that's fine.
Well, commercially, if you've got like people who are doing it big style and big fancy stuff, well, that'll last long, because it's always going to look big and fancy.
Yeah.
It's always going to look modern. Until they decide they want small square panes and Georgian real panes again. But we'll wait 100 years till that comes around. But yeah, it's fashion, a lot of it. Like office blocks and stuff like that, where you need aluminium, shop fronts and stuff. You have to have aluminium.
Yeah.
But they'll last 20, 30 years. You'll see a shop front there. No problem at all.
Nigel, what split is yours? So Kev's talking there about commercial and residential differences. I mean, what's your split at the minute? How much commercial versus resi do you do?
Most probably 90% resi.
Okay, fair enough.
If you look at most of our customers, they're looking at doing bifolds, lift and slides, tilt turns, and they're absolutely putting in new builds and extensions. People now want to have aluminium.
I know I did. I mean, I could have. I like, as I said to you, Nigel. I mean, you saw what I had.
It's a lovely door. I don't know where you got it from.
Some very kind people sorted it out for me. Some very kind people. But I had some PVC French doors and side lights, and do you know, I never even considered. I mean, I know there's PVC bifolds out there, but it never entered my mind to have them. It's just we've got to that point now where you think bifold, aluminium, or patio, aluminium.
But that comes back to what Kev's just been saying. And with my marketing head on, you're following the trend of the moment. And
because I'm super fashionable, Lee. That's what it's all about.
And that trend will always be driven, and I keep coming back to this on previous podcasts, that trend is always going to be driven by two things: marketing to installers and what Kev mentioned earlier is what installers are comfortable with. Because if an installer is comfortable with it, they're going to sell a ton of it. That's all they want to do. The easiest, I don't think I'm generalising here. It's the same with most tradespeople. The easiest point from A to B, from doing the job to getting paid, what are you comfortable with? What will the customer like? Boom, boom, boom. That's as easy as it gets. And the big point here from top to bottom is the people who are marketing the best products to the installers and getting the understanding to the installers and showing them are going to win. But going back to the second issue, so before I forget, because we are covering a lot here, I've seen a few comments. There's obviously been discussions lately about recycling. And again, I'll bring it back to what we've just been talking about. There's a massive, massive problem because things are made to break now. Companies who are selling products don't want the toasters, the fridge freezers, the televisions to work for 15, 20 years because they're not going to make any more money reselling.
They say they will sell it.
And this is always going to be a problem with trades like ourselves. It's always going to be churn of new product. And if we're not doing that, our industry's suffering from a lack of work.
I'd kind of argue it the other way, Lee, to be honest. I'd say it's the marketing people who are promoting new products that are causing the problem, because things that still do work get thrown out to the place of stuff that is newer.
But again, the argument.
I've never bought into fashion. I've never bought into marketing and that and shit. I'm just not familiar with it at all. I don't do the sell. I don't do the advertising.
But if the new product meets a new need, for example.
9 times out of 10, a need is made for a new product.
Well, I get that. Yeah, that's right. But Nigel, you'll have better knowledge on this than me. But the new building regs that are coming in, your products already meet that. But for those that don't, they're going to have to redevelop other products out there to meet the new regs. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're going to have a problem. Majority of our competitors have got a problem. And when you look at it, it's how they're going to do it. They can't. They've got to redesign their whole product range.
So just for clarity, because people who watch this back or people who are watching now, it's Part L, I believe, is what's
L2, yeah.
So, without giving everything away, what are the changes you've already sort of met with your product?
Well, the little door that sat behind you will sit there at 1.3, right, with a 1 centre pane. Most bifolds on the market will be at 1.6. The new regs need you to be at 1.4.
Okay, so they're going to have to re-engineer their existing products. Okay, so Kev, to that point, go on.
Right, when does the big thing is about a bifold? There's a lot of lobbying going on, and we can take a 63 mil unit in our bifold. Most people can't. So you've got to look at the situation where our bifold is literally it's future proof.
So when you mean lobbying, are you finding others and competitors are trying to water down these changes?
I am finding others, as you know, and you'll sit there grinning, You know exactly where you're coming from. Yes, my competitors are challenging the new regs, and they are trying to push their product into a sphere where they will not be able to compete. So we've designed a product that will be will be best in market for the next 5-10 years. So, and that's where we came from, and that's the only reason I came back into this bloody stupid world of systems companies. As you know,
once you leave, see when Windows have got you, Nigel, you can.
I left. I did something else, and I got dragged back in because the product was so good.
Go on, Kev. What are you going to say?
We know triple glazing is the thing because Lee's been saying it forever.
It's Lee's favourite subject, triple glazing.
Mark's been saying it.
I want
jump on it.
That. Nigel's got a hand in his video box. I want one like that to say yes to when.
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
I've no idea what that is.
Not me.
Yeah. It looks cool.
I'm going to keep it there because I don't press any more. But we've already had one technical issue. I'm going to leave it there because if I press any more buttons, I might cut someone off. I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to do that. Do you know what I think it is? I think that's a Zoom feature where you can request to ask a question.
Help. Yeah, it's a help button, isn't it?
Oh, someone's asking me a question.
I don't understand. Anyway, listen, it looks quite stylish there. I'm just going to leave it there for a minute or two.
Talking about questions, let's ask the.
That's why I've had a shave.
Let's ask the viewers.
The last picture I seen, I had a grey beard.
Anybody got any questions for Nigel or Kev while they're on?
Callum's asking. Callum has got a question. Callum to Kev. So should I get new K triple glazed windows, Kev, for energy efficiency? Don't answer that. Callum's stirring it. I think we have covered a lot of ground, as Lee has said there, and I do want to talk about other things because we know the various issues with the supply chain. But I think it has been interesting to get the point of an installer and the point of a systems company. I mean, I'd like. A lot of the discussions focused around the fabrication level of the supply chain, and quite rightly, because they are the middle part of the chain. But I don't think installers have had a fair crack at airing their views, and I don't think systems companies have either, because it's very easy for for others to blame the person above them, and I imagine a lot of systems companies have been pummeled with a lot of shit the last year or so. Being blamed for this, being blamed for that, and it's your fault. It's raining.
Most of the time.
It's so. It's been nice to get.
I live in Wales, so it went.
It's been nice to get a bit of insight from two of the other very important parts of the supply chain. I guess I would ask, or ask you both this, and then we might move on to something else. What advice would each of you give to the people above you and below you? So, Kev, what advice would you give to your fabricators? And Nigel, what advice would you give to your fabricators too? Because these problems are not going away, and according to some reports, they could be here for another year or two. Kev, we'll start with you. What advice would you give to the people above you to help installers, if anything?
I don't know really, because our relationship with our suppliers generally, well, the ones that we're quite good with, they tell us what we need to know. They give us 2 weeks notice if they're going to increase a week's lead time, so we've got time to order stuff for an extra week in front. The glass boys are the same. They say, as of 2 weeks' time, price rises, they're going stupid. They can't do much about that. They're just telling us on the next day or whatever. But they've given us plenty of notice. If they give us more notice, if they feel there's something going on that they're going to have to do, will tell us they're going to have to do it before they do it. And that's really what I'd like to know. And we've got one supplier who we buy quite a lot of who are not very good at that. In fact, I've got a job on Monday that I've been told now not doing till Tuesday because the door that was promised for 8 o'clock and now come at 2 o'clock. So there's a job there we can't get, and it's all booked in. So things like that are a pain in the neck. But if we know they're not coming, we can. But then that's it. It's notice. We just need more notice.
More notice.
Got more notice. We can be straighter with the customer.
Yeah.
And they'll believe us. Last minute changes, they just smack them messing around.
Yeah.
So notice is the thing.
Nigel, what piece of advice, what nuggets of wisdom would you give to people below you so they can manage and help you guys as well? Because a fabricator in good stead helps you as well.
No, I'm the same thing. I get really frustrated when I look up the supply chain and I get told what's happening. I don't get told that all of a sudden I get told that that delivery isn't coming in, and then I've got to talk to my fabricators who then got to talk to the installers. I find it really, really reassuring that all the way through the supply chain, all you want is communication.
Do you think we've done this well enough then? Communication's been a big theme of all this. Do we think communication has been good enough?
Shite. I think we're shite at it. To be honest, I think we're absolutely shite. We all talk about it and we go, oh yeah, we're going to communicate, and then we go, and you get a phone
and then we don't.
Yeah, and you go, right, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to take that phone call. But it's all about, for me, it's really, really fucking simple. If someone asks you a question, give them an answer.
Yeah.
If it's bad, then fine. They can then plan.
Nobody likes bad news, but it's still important.
Yeah, I totally. I come from a contraction background. So if someone told me that all of a sudden, the ground workers aren't going to be in tomorrow, I can plan to do something else. Right? So if someone tells me that the door profile isn't going to be until next week, then tell them. Be honest.
Yeah.
Just talk to people. And I think because of the supply chain issues we've got, people are getting really worried about talking about being honest. Shit. I'm going to be 3 weeks late. Why are you 3 weeks late? Well, because I can't get stuff in China, right? Or it's on, it's in some, on a boat and it's going to get here and I don't know. We need to be honest, especially at the moment. We need to be honest with each other.
Because there's no secret here, is there? We're not talking about something that's not known. Everybody knows there's problems. So it's not going to be a total surprise to everybody, is it?
No.
I think one of the problems is it's the stress levels of not wanting to take something back. Now, if you give someone notice that it's going to be bad, well, the reaction you get is going to be much more positive than telling them, oh, you're knackered.
100%.
That's the thing.
Yep.
And the girls in the office don't get stressed. And then our suppliers don't get stressed.
Oh, listen, Kev.
Don't get stressed.
Everyone
understands how it's going.
The stress levels, I mean, I've some of the people I speak to, the office staff are getting yelled at and yelled at and yelled at for stuff that they don't even, it's not their fault.
But the trouble is, you see, the people who are telling the office staff what to tell the customer, I say, oh, tell them this, tell them that, tell them this. And so they're thinking, oh shit, okay, well that's an angry customer. Whereas if it was planned in advance to say, look, we're going to have this problem next week. Do you mind telling those customers that their nickel benefit isn't going to happen? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Because they know from experience that if you tell people with notice and honesty, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. They're
going to be treated by the customer saying, okay, that's fine, love, don't worry about it, yeah. Well, we'll see you next week then, will we? Yeah, that's fine. But we'll see you in 2 weeks. That's fine. But it's when
you don't want to send two guys to install the door that the door's not going to arrive.
Yeah.
Because that costs you a fortune.
Oh yeah. Rearranging stuff, swapping and changing.
Right. And coming from the background I do, I understand that totally. Yeah. Where we go, yeah, it'll be fine. And you sat there and you've got a fitting team on site and you go, who's going to pay for this?
Yeah.
Because the systems company isn't going to pay for it.
No.
Right? Because it's really easy for us to go, not our problem. Right? Look at our terms and conditions. Not our problem.
Yeah.
We're quite lucky on that because we've got a few strings to our bow. We do conservatories, windows. We do garage doors. We do fascia and soffit work. And garage doors are quite good because you have a few garage doors in your factory. You need to jump on a job. Well,
Yeah, just bring that forward. Yeah.
You jump into it. Fascia and soffit. I need 3 weeks' work. Get the scaffolder. Can you get there and do that one next week? Yeah, okay, bang. And also, if you book in work like fascia and soffit, it's also quite good if you say to us, sorry, we can't come next week. We're going to be a couple of weeks. Well, that's all right because it's outside the house. They've been waiting 3 years to do this, and they just got their fingers out to do it.
Yeah.
So you can move those jobs around a bit. So it helps to shuffle the load if you've got work that's not critical and it's not customer dependent on being at home. And even then, with lots of people working at home now, even then they don't mind so much if it's a day in.
That's one.
Holidays to be at the place where you are.
That's one thing I've noticed with our work. So again, working from home has given us a lot more flexibility with homeowners, letting us plan work around them because a lot of them are not in the office anywhere near as much as they were now. Leon Day in the comments section has put, at the moment, I don't think people mind things being late. It's when it comes to poor quality or being wrong, then you have to wait another 6 to 8 weeks. The end user will not accept. I've got to say, to a degree, there was, if you remember at the beginning, and I think Kev will, because he's an installer, will see this more, but there was a lot of goodwill from the public towards us, and they would just accept anything. That's gone. Or it has where we live. And people have
accept anything.
Well, they were very, very flexible.
Yes.
And now they're not. and I miss those. I miss that time. It's when are you coming? Why aren't you coming? Is it really going to take that long? And then because prices have gone up, they expect perfection. And as we all know, and we all live in the real world, perfection doesn't exist. And their expectations have gone whoosh, because they are paying a lot more for a door or a bifold or windows or whatever it is. The more they pay, the higher their expectation goes.
So how do you see, right, the market moving now, where we've just put another 15% on our prices? So, for me, and I know Lee's got an opinion on this, I think the cost of living crisis is real and it's starting to hit home. I think next year is going to be very different to this year. I think the people, and it's going to be a case of the haves and have-nots. If you look at the budget responses, a lot of them are saying the middle classes, which are the main spenders, are going to be hit by triple whammies of inflation and mortgage rates and more tax. The haves, who have got plenty of money where a crisis doesn't affect them, I think they will continue to spend money. I think winning sales from the middle, the core part of the sector, is going to become more hard work. And I do feel some may put off spending decisions like new house full of new windows and doors for a little bit until things become steady. That's what I think. I'm really trying to understand where it's going to go, especially after the budget. Where what are you going to do? You know, how many people are now? I live in Wales, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, nothing wrong with Wales. I like Wales.
Mr. Drakeford, I'd love to shoot in the head. Tells us that perhaps in a couple of weeks we all need to work from home again.
Yes, aren't Wales teasing bringing more restrictions in now?
Yes, yeah. And I live on a pretty new estate where you can see new composite doors, and I really want to knock on the door and go, "You really don't want to buy that," but that's by the way.
That's my life.
But there's a lot of people now re-looking at what they're doing, and I seriously think that the home renovation market will continue. We're looking at interest rates climbing. Yeah, daily.
Yeah.
I still think people will look at it and go, right, I need a new kitchen. Oh, well, if I do that, I need a bifold. I'd rather than have a lift and slide rather than a bifold, but that's by the by. But I think I still think our industry has a lot to take from the current climate. And I get really frustrated when you see the commercial outlets going, no, it's going to get quiet next year, and you're going, no, it's not.
I don't think it's going to get quiet. I mean, I don't know what you think of. I just think the pace at which people spend. I mean, there were times this year where we were literally we couldn't keep up with the amount of work we were signing up.
We still can.
And I just don't think that it's going to be the same pace next year. I mean, regionally, it depends where you live. Where we are, we're not in a particularly affluent area. We're a more expensive business because we're higher end, but the streets are not paved with gold up here. So fluctuations in the cost of living will persuade some people around these parts to maybe think different. I don't know what things are like where you are, Kev, at the minute.
One thing that round our way is some of our competitors are charging like 50% deposits.
50?
Wow.
50?
50, yeah. And I'm looking at them, and they've got new vans, they're paying stupid amounts for the fitters. We've lost 2 fitters to them. And I'm thinking, well, that's all well and good one. You've got like 16 weeks work in front of you. You've got effectively 8 weeks invoices paid. Now, what happens when the work slows down and they've invested all this money and that, and they charge 50? Like, they've got no money to fund the ongoing work. And I'm thinking, as long as they don't go back to the dark days when you have finished companies left, right, and centre. Oh yeah, that's I'll take Everest for instance. But you look, and people don't know that it's a different company, and people don't know that they've changed hands, and it's a different funded thing. And I'm thinking there could be a few customers here with burnt fingers with the way it's going. I mean, you can't tell them that because it gets slagging off competition. But as far as the industry is concerned, it's a worry.
Now you're talking about the worry I've got, which is January, February, where everyone falls over.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Porsches for sale really cheaply.
Go on, Lee. Sorry, pal.
I've got some big views on both sides of that. One, the work. This is from an outsider looking in, because obviously I've come in from the marketing and sales side 12 years ago. I think that, this is just my opinion, we've probably done 3 years worth of home improvement works in our market over the last 14, 15 months. Naturally, it's going to slow down. It can't carry on as it is. Coupled the other factors, the cost of living, the other issues with inflation potentially, depends what happens with COVID, with travel. If holidays start again,
we might not be able to go to Wales, Lee. If they come in, there'll be border checks to get to Wales.
No, we're not going to let Lee in. I've already arranged that with Drakeford. We're not going to let you in.
But if you look at the budget and you look at what the way they've helped the travel industry with flights, with the taxation, you would imagine that they're looking at pushing travel again.
Only domestically. That you're going to be paying more for international, but they've only cut rates for domestic flights.
I think holidays, if COVID doesn't take hold, will have a big impact next year. There's people not being away for 2, maybe 3 years. So I think that's going to affect the market. But I am massively worried about what Kev's just brought up as an industry for 2 reasons. One, what Nigel's just said, when they start panicking, they're going to be dropping prices and just doing whatever they can to stay afloat. But I will say exactly what Kev said there. I've seen all over social media people buying new. Oh, are you going to get that? Are you going to get that bounce back loan? Are we getting a new van? Are we going to get loads of new tools? And it's all right taking these big deposits now if they're not. And this, I'm not trying to be derogatory here. Most tradespeople are not business people. The tradesmen, they're good at what they do. They go and do the trade. They're either builders or fitters or joiners or plumbers. They're not necessarily an all-round business person. And here comes the cash flow management, where I believe that this is going to be a huge problem moving forward over the next 12, 18 months. And if people haven't managed the cash flow, is that going to affect the industry when they can't do the jobs because they're going bust? And the reputation of the industry moving forward for the next 10 years.
Well, I think really that the tradesmen, I think, are generally kind of a bit savvier. It's the businessmen who understand what they can do with a business model that are more worrying. The businessmen who suddenly realise that, I've had the meat out of this one. I'm a bit stuck, but I'm a business. I know what I can do, and I can fold this one and start another one tomorrow. And all his vans are owned by someone else, and all his vans are by a different company. They start up tomorrow, Phoenix. There's a different company with the same-ish name, and it's hunky-dory. And it's Nigel's part of the bargain that carries the can then, because they're not paying the bills. And the customer.
Well, I think it's twofold. I think you've got both. I think that'll happen both ways. You'll get your clever ones, Phoenix, in, and you'll get some people who are just not managing the cash flow. You can see it, and it's a big worry to me. I think it's going to be a reputation problem as well for the industry, for consumers.
I hope it doesn't fall off too much. I've just bought an expensive electric car, so it can't fall off too much. Otherwise, I won't be able to afford it.
I don't think it's going to fall off a cliff. I'm not being dramatic. It's not going to. We're not going to get.
Can't fall off anymore. I bought a new guitar.
Oh, very nice. You keep teasing that, Kev. We're going to make you play it later. I'm telling you.
We're going to run out of time. It's fine.
I mean, Nigel, going back to what you said about where things are going to go.
How I'm not paying for your Tesla.
How do you? You could pay for it if you want. How do you see? I see 2022 as a good year, perhaps not as frantic as this year. I still see supply chain issues. Do you think perhaps slightly slower sales would actually help us in terms of allowing us to catch a breath and catch up?
No, I see.
Or is it just going to be as bad?
I think there's going to be a major cull in January, February of fabricators.
Fabricators?
Yeah, I think a number of fabricators have extended themselves too far, and will realise that they've got a problem and they would disappear. Unfortunately, because we're going to lose a lot of quality guys. I think we're in a really weird situation where we've got an immense amount of demand, and you will see a number of fabricators that cannot supply it, and we're seeing it now. Where fabricators that are good businesses and cannot pay for their supply. It's unfortunate. We may see some major businesses get bigger, and you'll see a lot of smaller businesses disappear.
Well, yeah, to that end, Nigel, I'm thinking those who have got the cash, could they start going on a buying spree and start either buying up to remove competition or start creating bigger groups? Or do you mean just get bigger from a natural standpoint? They're just growing a lot and they're managing it well.
I think they grow through natural business, but I don't think there'll be all of a sudden someone will buy 5 or 6 companies and create a
super group.
Make fabricator.
Yeah.
And I don't think the market would take that.
Go get a refill, Kev. Kev's going to get a refill.
I can't see the market taking another super fabricator.
No, those days seem to be gone, don't they? Do you remember? God, there was a spate. It might have been 5, 6, 7 years ago where, God, everyone was buying everyone. There was this spate of super groups that came along, and there was this group and that group, and they were buying them, and they were buying them, and
I think that's
it hasn't really turned out well for many of them, has it?
No, most of them got bust,
or they've split off, or they've been bought back in by the original.
They've done stuff. So I think a lot of the family-owned businesses that have gone quite clever, have gone really measured and gone right. We want to do this, we want to do that, right, and from my perspective, where I joined a UPVC business and tried to introduce an aluminium product, a lot of the UPVC businesses have gone, right, okay, let's start something, but let's do it small.
Yeah.
Let's try. Let's do it, and let's see how it goes.
Rather than go full beans from the beginning.
Yeah, they haven't gone full beans. They haven't gone like, right, here we are, like, job done. They've literally gone, right, let's try it. Let's see how it goes, and they've done it. And from my perspective, as Deceuninck Aluminium, we've done very well. Thank you very much.
I think you have. I think the one thing is, I mean, you know, to those who are watching, I mean, me and Nigel speak on a fairly regular basis, and I know one of the things Deceuninck has done is they've not gone and raced to sign up every single person on planet Earth. They've managed the business by being selective in who they deal with, not taking on more than they can cope with, and what it's meant is, I mean, you're one of the few businesses I haven't seen complaints about supply problems. So whatever you are doing appears to be working well. Kev, by the way, has gone to his back garden pub and poured himself a pint. I assume.
If I may interject on that.
Go on, fine.
I'm sorry for taking it off industry.
No, go on.
Lee, this one is from the kit you kindly supplied. However, it has been spiced with some of the hops that I grew in my own garden.
Ooh.
Oh, very nice.
I with the lockdown, I got a bit into the gardening and stuff. And then I thought this year, I'll grow some hops. Because I do my own beer. And I grew 2 hop plants that grew up really well. And that is flavoured with some cascade hops that's at the back of my house.
So, are your prices going up 30p a pint as well then?
No. Mine don't even cost 30p a pint.
Have you heard that, lads? Apparently the cost of a pint, because, you know, why not? Everything else is going up. It's about to go up 30p a pint.
Wouldn't they just reduce the tax on all?
3p.
It's coming down.
No, yeah, the cost of the tax, but the cost of the raw materials to go into beer apparently is going to put 30. So in essence, what you've got is a net gain of 27p a pint.
And the energy, there's a lot of energy goes into it, and a lot of water goes into it.
I mean, go on. Lee, go on.
Before we make it a little bit more light-hearted, you mentioned on Twitter you'd got a supply chain issue with your beer.
It's lovely, Lee. It's lovely. I tell you. You like this one. It's got quite a sharpness, but you like all your pump stuff, which is a bit flowery. It's a bit out there. This one, I planted a dahlia for that one. Never mind a tree, a dahlia.
See, Kev's supply chain is literally from his garden or his house or his greenhouse to his mouth. That's his supply chain.
From Lee to the garden, to the tap, to the bucket, to my mouth.
There you go.
I'm interested to know what bifold he installs, so just make it easier.
Sorry?
But what bifold do you install?
It depends, because there's colours like fitting different ones. So if they've got a particular order for someone, they'll do one. It's a bit kind of a daft admission, but I'm
not ours. Not ours. The answer was so long that you don't install ours.
No. Well, I'm sure there's UK in there, as I said, but I don't.
Don't swear at me.
I know. We went through it before, but I've got PVC in mine. I have to say, I've got 2 of them, and they work. They work lovely, and they work all day. I've got blinds in them. They work lovely. They work all day.
Yeah, but you haven't got electric blinds, Kev.
you ain't
I saw them coming down. They took forever. They took forever.
My toddler loves them. He loves watching them go up and go down. He tries to catch them.
Yeah, but I couldn't brew the beer.
Sorry. I had to ask the question, and
It's all right, don't worry. There's 3 different sweets that I think they use, but we buy them from one supplier, and they've got things in a few pies, but generally they're decent. We've never had any real problems.
Fair enough.
We had one problem with a patio door they supplied at 2.6 with a slim mid-rail at interlock, and they complained it was our fault for not specifying it. Well, hang on a minute. You make the thing. Can you just give us the right thing? Oh no, but you signed the document.
See, that's another question, right? That we have to answer as a system supplier. is when the installer gets upset that the product isn't fit for purpose, but the systems company never gets the question asked.
No, it's not. They don't get involved. The
It.
manufacturer decides. He says, "Well, he asked for it. You can have it." No, we don't really know what we asked for, but you supplied it. So you made it and supplied it, but you shouldn't have done. You should have told us we couldn't have it. And then it's your problem, Nigel. Oh. Sort it out between you lads. It's not our problem. Yeah, I don't know. It's the way it is. And
this is my argument about.
40 years, I should know this stuff. But it still catches you out every now and again.
This is where there's a missing point, where a systems company wants to help, a fabricator will deliver, and when there's a problem, it becomes a major issue. But no one talks. Well, actually, the problem comes back to the systems company, and we're like, "Ooh, who fabricated it? Who asked for it? Who does it?" So we need to.
And then, did you put your manufacturing standards to it? If you've got your limits on it, that's fine. You shouldn't have made it. Our limits are this. But to be fair, our PVC guys are really good.
See, this is my argument about.
If something out of spec, they'll say, "Can't have that." Disclaimers. So, well, you must be able to do this, and they'll let us have it to a degree because they know we know what we're doing. And we're not just a trade counter thing who's going to buy it and stick it all and have problems with it. They know that we can glaze it properly, we can heel and tow it, we can pack it out, we can do it properly. So they'll say, "Okay, you can have it, but if it goes wrong, please don't come knocking on our door." And we'll say, "Okay, that's fine. We don't go stupid sizes, but just outside the limits, we'll go for
But
it."
this comes back to my point about earlier that I said, is it not worth every level of the supply chain knowing more and being fully educated on everybody else's part? Would that not help in that kind of situation?
I've been doing this 40 years. 40 years I've been doing it all the way through. And we still miss one. And in 40 years we have one that goes badly wrong and a few that are niggles. We know what we're doing. I'm sure lots of people who don't know what they're doing will just get on with it. And they do. I'm sure they do. But they don't care what they don't know. They're just going to get on with it anyway.
No. What I want to know is if Lee's got any terrible jokes this time round.
Right, I'm gonna bring a bit of light-heartedness, and then I want to discuss something for us, because we don't blow our trumpet very often, but we've got something coming up. But yes, I've got a little one for you. It's Halloween, so we'll make it Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween. These are not.
I'm really very prepared tonight because I've not been on for a while, so I forgot that I needed to come on with jokes.
These are not pictures of like my family, by the way. They're just Halloween crap that we put up in the house.
I don't know about you, Nigel. They've got all decorated up for Halloween, Kevin and Jason, and I'm sat here with nothing.
That's normal decoration. Don't worry about it.
I've got no decoration for Halloween because my kids are 18 and 23, so we're not doing anything. No.
What about the neighbours' kids?
Yeah.
The neighbours must have kids.
No, but the neighbours have got their houses done up with all the shit and stuff, so they can knock on their doors. Yeah. Not mine.
That's my plan. If I don't decorate, they'll not knock on my door.
Exactly that.
I don't get this belly by handing out my chocolates.
my wife has got a boot full of chocolates, and actually she hasn't got them out the car. They're still in the boot. So when the kids knock on the door, they go, "No, ain't got a problem." No.
Well, my house is known as the greenhouse, and Halloween I've got coffins on the drive.
You mentioned.
I've seen your house before at Halloween. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that because the background doesn't give that away at all.
Nigel, honestly,
they'll be outside on Saturday morning.
The way Kev does his house, honestly, I've seen. You'll have to, Kev, if you can find the picture you sent last time and put it on social media when you get a minute. But like, there's some proper effort gone into that, man. It's amazing.
The daft thing is, they do and I forgot, they did it last year, they do a pumpkin trail.
Right.
In the village. So after all the kids go around making notes. And I saw the signs going up in the neighbours' houses and thought, I forgot about it again. Because I haven't got kids in school, I don't hear about it so much, yeah? And they all do, they don't do a lot, they do a few bits and pieces. The trouble is mine is kind of light orientated, so it needs to be dark to see it. And I don't really want to, I've got to park the cars on the drive, and I can't do that with all the bushes. Tomorrow I'll be cutting down trees and bushes, and that'll be on the drive. It'll be like a big kind of, you know, thorny kind of in there. I'll set the PA up. I'll have the lights in the house all green and.
Oh, that's brilliant! That sounds awesome.
Well, I normally have about 2 or 3 kids screaming by the end of it. I have 3 or 4 crying.
Oh God!
And the parents love it, but they still. What I do, because all the kids, I've got a remote microphone, and it's on my lapel. So I go out and just walk along the street quite casually with my hat on, and just hiya. And then I've got all my voice boxes and stuff and the PA on the garden. And as the little kids go, who's coming there? Who's walking in my drive? Get out of here! Kind of stuff. And they go, and they're all like running away. And they love it!
That's amazing. That's awesome.
I saw one of the mothers the other week in the shop, and she said, "Oh, you're the guy with the greenhouse." I said, "Well, yeah, because it's all lit green with all the band lights." And she said, "You're the one with the greenhouse." I said, "Yeah." Oh, my daughter screamed her head off when she said, "Oh, she's scared of life." She said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just do it." She said, "Oh, don't worry. By the time we got round the block," she said, "Can we go there again, Mummy? Can we go there?" So,
Kev's house becomes an attraction. He could charge money for it.
Well, I'm not going to win an award for the pumpkin trail because I'm not in it. But I also just do it on the day. I don't do it in the week in advance. It just
that's fair. That's fair
in
enough.
the morning. It's for the kids.
That's fair enough.
Fair play.
I want to hear Lee's amazing comedy repertoire
All right,
now.
so, who did the ghost take to the Halloween party?
Who?
His girlfriend.
Oh man.
See, and I've not even planned that one.
Oh.
This is the quietest I've heard Lee
I got a text
every
the other
time
day.
I've watched this.
It's the quietest.
Yeah, it's the quietest I've seen Lee.
Well,
Well,
we don't often get the opportunity, so you're lucky.
I'm out of practice, you see. I've not been on for the last 3, so I'm out of practice. But to be fair, I'm enjoying listening tonight because there's a lot of good conversation going on. There's a lot to take on board, and I'm serious there.
This is what happens when you get 2 people who are genuine experts at what they do. Kev's been doing what he's done for 40 years, he says, and Nigel left the industry, and he was that good. He came back in, so he's. But this is why I think these kinds of conversations are useful because, like I said, what I hope people are finding is they're either getting ideas or insights or tips and advice. I don't just another talking shop and everyone agreeing with everyone how terrible things are is no good to anybody. I hope what we're doing here is at least trying to help people or give people some insight and education as to what's actually going on, so that when they go away next week, they think, well, that's actually happening at systems company level, or all right, that's what installers have got to deal with on a regular basis. And then, hopefully, 1 or 2 go away with nuggets of things on how to improve. But on a lighter note, Lee, I don't know where you want to go with this, but we've got something coming up.
Yeah, I think we need to be blowing a trumpet on this because we don't.
We can for 5 or 10 minutes. We never do it normally, do we? So. And
we'll have a bit of light-hearted non-work stuff for 10, 15 minutes and we'll get back to some more work stuff. But we have got after all these COVID issues, we finally got the NFA Winners event again, a week tomorrow.
Party time.
So, we have got a lot of people already coming.
Yes.
If you haven't got tickets, you can still book tickets, but you need to get in touch fast.
You've got a week to buy tickets.
Cracking day out, Donny Racers.
It's the final day of the flat racing season. It's going to be on multiple TV channels, so the stands are going to be packed. the weather's probably going to be crap because it's November, but it's. I'm really looking forward to it.
Area we've got the room, the garden room corporate area
in the Hilton.
Itself, a second floor of the Hilton, looking straight down the winner's post. Champagne reception and bacon butties for breakfast. Breakfast of champions. 3-course meal. Afternoon tea. Then we're giving out awards for last year winners, and we're announcing this year's winners. First time we've ever done that. We're announcing the winners on the day.
Yes.
And then when everyone's absolutely
spantangled,
when everyone's done all the money on the horses and they're absolutely
flush with cash and winners,
we've got a disco as well. So it's a full day, 10:30 till 10. We've got some
I'm going to be knackered.
Sponsors.
I'm going to be stood up asleep.
We've got some very kind bar sponsors. One of them's on here today. Thank you, Nigel.
Yes, thank you, Nigel. Buddy.
So there's going to be some money behind the bar as well. So
quite a bit now.
There's quite a bit of free money.
Free money?
Do I need to reduce my contribution then?
No, you've said it, Nigel. You can't go back on it.
It's a 10-hour day, Nigel. We're in an industry where that'll be gone in an hour.
I know. That's why I put it where I did.
But it's going to be very good. Anyone who hasn't got a ticket, there is still tickets available. But I think we can only fit about another 30 in. So
yeah,
I'm gutted that we can't get there.
Of the room.
No,
I'm really gutted we can't be there, but we've had other things.
Listen, it's fine.
I've got to go and watch Wales play.
A minute, because not only was I kind of committed with my lad's getting married on the 20th, and he thinks that's his day for a bail or two, but he's now announced I'm the best man. So
excellent, fantastic.
I'm trying to organise something as well, and I can't afford tickets for 20 people.
It's fine. Congratulations. That's awesome. I tell you what, it's been a shite 2 years. It's been very, very hard. There's been a lot of restrictions. There's been a lot of stress. I know people have made money, but that's not the be-all and end-all. I am genuinely looking forward to having a good time. It's on a Saturday. I know there'll be work talk, but there'll be a lot of non-work talk, and it'll hopefully be just a bunch of nice people in a room getting together because, remember as well, it's a happy room. Half the people in there have already won trophies from last year. So they're picking up trophies. Say that again, Kev.
Do you have a tipster there?
A tipster? We do actually.
We've got a tipster, and we've actually got, for the first time, we've got someone doing the presenting of the trophies. Me and Jason usually do it, but we've got a guy who does the William Hill online TV channel who's coming to present the trophies.
He's got a proper speaker's voice. It's not too northerners.
But he knows all the sports. It's not just racing.
But no, I'm genuinely looking forward to just having a good time. I know that sounds really simple and daft, but we've all worked for far too long and been under far too much pressure and stress. This is just a time and a day just to enjoy it. And I'm really looking forward to it.
To be fair, we've been there for 3 years already, and it's a cracking corporate day. It is really good.
The service is great. The food's immense. The food. We never have more food than there. You get you've got bacon sandwiches in the morning, then a 3-course meal, then afternoon tea, and I think they've given us the option to add even more food at the end if we want it. You're not going to be hungry.
They're scraping the plates of other people. Yeah, have some more. I'm going to throw it away. Yeah.
You're not going to be hungry.
It's like my house, mate. It's like my house. I'll finish that. That's the only reason I've got a beard, mate. It stretches my face, so it's that long now. It's not like that, you know.
So if anyone's watching who hasn't bought a ticket and you want to buy a ticket, they're still available. Go to NFA website, click on Winners Event, and you'll be able to reserve it there.
Chat box, Jason.
I'll put a link on.
By the way, talking about beer, I still haven't had a chance to speak to you properly on here, Kev. So thank you for the cider.
That's all right.
That you sent, absolutely brilliant. Me and the neighbour had half each, and he's a bit of a cider connoisseur, and he was very impressed.
Well, it's a bit embarrassing charging for the postage, because I really cocked that up. I know I did. Because if I'd have sent you 3 bottles and 2 packages, it would have been about £6. But apparently, because it was more than 4 kilos,
it was worth it. It was more than what. And I told you need to be charging me for making it as well. I told you that.
No, I don't do that. It's just besides that, see that you bought me that. Cheers.
I now need to understand where the ciders come from, because my house is in Somerset, so
Well,
you can't put like cider anywhere else. But
so, speaking of
good cider.
Nigel's going to be at the rugby starts soon. The autumn internationals starts soon.
This weekend, tomorrow.
Yes, you're right. Sorry, it starts for Wales. England don't play till next Saturday.
Against Tonga.
Against Tonga. Yeah. So Wales have got a dead easy game against New Zealand tomorrow.
Yeah, with half their team absolutely on the sidelines. So they're going to be like
mullered,
massacred tomorrow. Next weekend against South Africa will be a slightly different story. But I'm not Welsh, by the way.
Do you reckon England lost to South Africa in the final? South Africa are no pushovers.
I don't want to go off rugby because I know you're talking rugby, but Nigel, am I right? Are you a Forest fan, did you say?
No, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but so
I don't know.
I would never be a Forest fan as long as you can count me back to the Umbro silky shirts in 71. No, I'm a Chelsea fan, but
Chelsea. For some reason, I thought you told me Forest. Sorry.
No, Chelsea.
Sorry, back to rugby.
That's fine. We just had a few comments. So, Ducky, we're not ending up in Bruges. How are you going to end up from Doncaster to Bruges? I mean, something's going to have to go seriously wrong there, pal.
Oh, we could sort that out. It's lots of aluminium. We could sort that out, couldn't we?
Well, I can guarantee you that is still a possibility. Listen, the worst things happen than that.
You buy aluminium, we can get you to Bruges. Don't worry about
We can get to Bruges. That's fine. Glazing inside it. If you've booked your hotel, I don't know if you've filled out the form yet on the website. If you get a minute, pal. Fill out the form on the winners event tab on the website, just because we need to invoice you for a ticket. But
yeah, unfortunately, Ilton were booked before we'd even booked the event.
That's the horse race.
We got some cancellations for 3 rooms. But...
Yeah, well, don't piss everybody off, Lee. You got.
This is Doncaster, isn't it? Doncaster Hilton. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a Hilton. It's still a Hilton, Kev. Before you get all snobby about it. A Hilton's a Hilton, whether it's in Donny or London. John Vanstone saying, looking forward to Wales taking an absolute battering, but at least the wife will be. Oh, John's Vanstone's wife is a New Zealander.
They will be battered tomorrow. Wales will be battered tomorrow.
Yes, Danelle, who is John Vanstone's wife, hails from New Zealand. So
she'll be happy.
So she'll be very happy probably tomorrow at the end of the day. But there we go. You never know. They might have an off day in New Zealand. Wales might feel...
we've got half a team out. Well, Wales have got half a team out tomorrow. So.
Who's not playing for Wales tomorrow? Who's benched?
I'm not playing for Wales tomorrow.
Oh, you see, that's it. If Kev were playing, all the New Zealand fullbacks would be shitting themselves.
Technically, our office is in Wales, so I probably qualify to play.
Yes, you live over the border, don't you? You work over the one side of the border and you live the other side.
When I say technically, I mean we're over the border. But yeah, we don't see ourselves the West Coast company particularly. But then one of the guys who is particularly Welsh, and he follows Wales probably everywhere. But he follows English football.
See, I live in Usher which is a little bit in Wales, and I follow Wales for rugby as long as I'm not playing England, and England for football.
That's the same as Dave, yeah. Same as our Dave, exactly the same. Quite passionately as well.
I think we've got 5. We play Tonga next
Next weekend.
Next weekend, and I don't know who we've got after that.
Do you want some tickets? I've got some because I can't go.
Well, funnily enough, I've got some on, but maybe next time. So...
Yeah, I can't go to the England game because I'll go to the Wales game. So
if you've got any England tickets going in the future, I will go, because my window of being able to do stuff is getting narrower, because we're expecting our...
As long as you buy Deceuninck bifolds and lift stones.
Oh, there we go.
I'll give you
It's a catch. My window is narrowing of things I can do, because my wife, we're having our second end of March, but it gets to the point where you've got to stop going too far away, because you might have to be called upon at short notice. So
yeah, that's right. Six Nations starts like end of Jan, Feb.
No, it don't. End at Six Nations. It's usually end of Feb, isn't it?
No, it ends at the end of Feb. So
have you seen Six Nations tickets price, by the way?
I never look at prices because I always do it corporate.
I just no, honestly, the cheapest shit tickets in like the God tier where you can't see piss all is like 100 and something quid. I mean, this is the thing. We were before we came on air. We were talking about we were comparing football and rugby and how very different spheres they are. But the one thing with rugby union is it is really expensive, especially the international games. I mean, you're looking at 100 and something quid for the crap tickets. I mean, you are.
No.
You are.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
I last time I looked for Twickenham versus I can't remember what. It was a Six Nations game, and then I looked for Autumn Internationals because a few years ago we were playing Australia at Twickenham as well. And honestly, there were like 6 of us wanting to go, and it were going to cost like 1,200 quid.
Are you buying through clubs? Are you buying
direct through England Rugby Union.
Oh, no, I'll sort you out better than that.
Right. Well, next time I want to go, I will.
99.50.
I've never paid anything to go.
And a free pint.
Well,
no, we'll sort that.
I'm going to give you a ring.
I'd like. Game, don't worry, I'll get you to a game.
I'd like to go. But
do you want tickets next weekend?
I think Lee might be a bit annoyed if I do that. Yeah, Lee, you know that winners event we've planned. Yeah, I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm not going.
Jason, get yourself off.
Yeah.
Get yourself off, Jason.
To be fair, it might help. Lee might not have to look after someone who can fall asleep stood up after he's drunk enough. So
I've never seen a man fall asleep stood up ever in my life.
That's me.
That was the second but last time we went after the races. It disappeared. Next minute, I'm looking all over for him. He was stood up asleep in the toilets.
Lee, you've got to name people now. You can't just say someone was stood up.
Yeah.
Jason.
No, this is me.
Someone carrying ID.
No, it's me. I was stood up.
No, it's you.
No, it was me.
Win my night. This is about 10:30. I were looking forward to going nightclubbing. We had to get him home. We had to get Sophie to come and pick him up.
If I'd have been behind the bike, not tonight, son. Not tonight, son.
Thing is, though, I thought I did. Listen, I'm not a big person, so my tolerance for booze is not as great as other people's. But we started at like 12, so I did okay. To say I'd not fallen down, I thought it's all right. And then we went out in Wakefield, before the pandemic.
Well, that was done when Wakefield.
That's brave. Brave lad. Well done, brave lad. You've come of age when you can do that, lad. Fair play.
Yeah.
Tell you what it were. We went to a bar. We were on its second bar after we'd come out of the course, so it weren't even that late. And I'd been warned by Sophie's other half not to get him on shots. And I made him have 2 shots. I can't remember what it were. It might have been absinthe and Jaeger.
You arsehole. If it was absinthe, I'll kill you. If I find... I had no idea what you give me.
Right, it went in stages, right? It went in stages. First of all, he lost his speech and he were going... When you ask him questions, he started nodding and going, just making a noise. And then the next minute, he disappeared. That were it. Stood up, asleep.
Well, I'm a big kid.
Amazing.
I know I'm a big kid, but I also know I can be a big kid longer if I pace myself and have a few soft ones in there.
Yeah, but the thing is,
coffee
Kev,
here and a coffee there, that's fine.
with me, I think I go from 0 to 100. There is no... For a long period of time, I can feel completely in control and no effects and feel pretty good. And then... Whoa.
Well,
And then-
I'm gonna. We've got Marky Cox on here. Mark, I know you're not coming, but I think you've bottled it. You told me you were coming. The next time we had a do, you were coming to have a
drink,
shot drinking
proper drink,
session
yeah.
in there. And you've had to send. You've actually sent your replacement in, Ducky. Ducky will do it, pal. Don't worry. Don't worry. Me and Ducky will do it, Mark. He's shilling crypto coins at the minute. Is Mark?
No, fair enough.
Shilling.
But no, it's you see, thing with shots as well as I do. If I stick to beer, I can last a sustained period of time before I start to tail off. Shots just send me stupid. They make me do weird things. They just don't agree with me at all. So I have to stick to one drink, one type of drink.
Talking about entertainment and stuff, I think. Come on, Kev. Come on, let's get that new guitar out, or get your bespoke guitar out. One of them. Come on, give us.
You don't have to.
Kev, what kind of music do you play? Can you play Metallica?
He's not a performing monkey, Lee. We're not really going to make him do this, are we?
I tell you what,
Are we thinking about it?
if I warmed myself up, I could have done that. I got myself a few minutes out, but no, I will. And if this was just going to be now and gone, I'd probably never go. But it's going to be forever, isn't it? That's the problem. It's going to be on YouTube forever.
Kev, I think you'll be fantastic. I think you're underselling yourself here.
No, he's not a performing monkey. Listen, so yes, my wife is called Sophie, Glazing Insider. Soph gets the same thing because she's in a band.
Yeah.
And she's a singer. And she gets like, sing us a song. Like, piss off. You don't want it.
I can't sing. I really can't sing.
You don't want it. I definitely can't sing.
I can't play guitar.
Give up. I've seen.
I can make a noise.
I've seen. Don't be fooled by those lies. I've seen videos of you, Kevin.
It's not me singing though. To be fair, I have written and recorded some songs, and I have got about 95 songs recorded.
95? Flipping heck.
Yeah,
See, of course you can sing.
No. Bear in mind, if I've done it, I've practiced that line, as I said, for about 20 times. And then, once I've recorded it, I slap the auto-tune on it, and I slap this on it, I slap the reverb and the delay, and disguise it like crazy, right? And I get away with it, because I've got time to mess with it. This is kind of for real. I don't necessarily do for real very often.
Well, you're still, listen, you're still more accomplished than I am. Leon Day's comparing the price of a Six Nations ticket to a box of silicon.
That's funny. That was funny, that was.
What's more expensive, a Six Nations ticket, Nigel, or a box of silicon? Hey, this could be a new game show slot on these podcasts.
At this moment in time, it depends whether it's brown or white.
Ah, that's a very good point. Yes. That's a very good point.
We can use whatever available.
Yeah. Jesus, if you wanted to buy a box...
it white.
Yeah, I'm going to say a box of white is like gold dust at the minute.
I've got some in the garage, but...
Sell it, man. Get it on eBay. You might get 300 quid for it.
We were quite lucky with silicon. Last year, we bought... when all this Brexit malarkey came along, we bought a pallet of it. And it was only about a couple of 3 months ago, we kind of come low. So we kind of started negotiating, and then we did another one.
Have you managed to get hold of what you've wanted?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
it was a short while ago, granted.
Brown.
Unfortunately, what, Nigel?
Yeah, it's
Unfortunately,
green,
up north
blue,
it's brown.
orange silicon. Well, orange, I said caramel, isn't it? They call it orange, they call it caramel.
Caramel.
Yeah, we've got it all. 10 tubes of each. Oh, no problem.
Caramel. You could eat these tubes. You've got buff, you've got caramel, toffee I've seen.
Yeah. And to be fair, that's how the frames come, though, isn't it? You've got a green line, you've got an orange line, you've got a rosewood one. It's fine. It's only one. It's the style. Go for it.
It's the fashion. It's the fashion.
It's the fashion. Yeah, it's what's in. You know, you should be marketing this shit. On and off cuts, just nail them together. But welders, that's it. Go for it.
Well, you've just sorted the supply chain out in one conversation.
There you go. There you go.
And if you can't sell them, stick them in your showroom. That's what you normally do.
This is it. We've solved every problem there.
We're going to solve world hunger soon as well. That's the next topic. We're going to solve that in one night next time.
To be fair, I don't think there'd be a silicon shortage if they scraped it off the uniforms.
That is a good point.
No, I don't think there would.
You could bend some of our fitters' t-shirts in half and they'd stay there.
Recycle their uniforms, mate. That's it, sorted.
You can't recycle that shit without silicon under armpits. How do you recycle that?
Put it back in the tube, man. Yeah. No problem.
I must admit, my 18-year-old has been working for a window fabricator for 3 months, and his trousers are absolutely covered in silicon. So I have to laugh.
I hope you're saying to him, stop waiting. I hope you're saying to him, Nigel, stop wasting that. That is more valuable than your life at minute, pal.
No, I'm not telling him. I'm just treating it. That's my pension.
Yeah.
New marketing idea. It's waterproof.
Waterproof.
Exactly.
Put him in next.
Or
no, maybe not. Liberty. Something posh.
Or
Put him somewhere posh.
Or is silicon the new crypto?
Oh.
You know,
no, I don't do crypto. I know you do.
Big swings in prices, very expensive.
Mark's on chilling his crypto he's just bought, him and Leon.
He's bought one that sounds like a Japanese superbike. Suzuki Inu.
Suzuki Inu.
Kawasaki Inu.
So, yeah, it might as well be. I mean... It might as well be. I've got... Me and Lee have got...
I thought that was Japanese then. I didn't get there.
Me and Lee have got Shiba Inu. Not dogs.
Wait, get your gears on your push bike?
Yeah, we've got 3 million of them.
Shiba Inus.
Shiba Inus. We've got... We're hoping if we can make... If Shiba Inu can ever make a pound or $1 a coin... We can stop selling windows and we can just retire early.
Right. On a serious note, I think this crypto shit is absolute bollocks.
Yeah.
I think it should be banned. I think everyone should just lose every penny that they invested in it. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Just computers burning energy. And that's all it is.
Yes,
and it's absolutely disastrous.
But the world's infrastructure is completely and utterly embedded in computer networks.
Yeah, but that's fine. But this is just a waste of computer energy. They're building farms of computers just to make this shit.
Listen, I don't give a shit. If Shiba Inu makes me a millionaire, man, they can set up 1 million servers for me. That's fine.
Well, your kids will pay the price, though, Jason. Your kids will pay the price.
Yeah, but if I make 5 million quid, I can build my own eco house and pay it back.
I'm not a socialist capitalist, but I kind of understand a bit of both, and I don't get shit like that. I really don't.
Listen, I'm not going to try and convince you in the next 10 minutes about crypto. So
I'm laughing because Mark's like not a capitalist, but he's sat there with loads of guitars around the back of him and talking about cryptocurrency. So it's quite funny.
Drop his helicopter in here every now and again. Yeah.
Listen, if we can, I mean, Lee, how many SHIB coins have you got now? Is it 40 million or something?
I've got 44 million SHIB. I've got some XRP. I've got some Doge, and I've got some VeChain. That's the 4 I've got at the minute.
Leon, Kev, if you ever get time to speak to Leon Day, he'll tell you. He'll go into it with some more detail. Don't dismiss it outright. Have an open mind to it. I promise you, there is some genuine benefits. And the misconception is that cryptos. I mean, look, all stocks and trades and currencies are gambles, right? But if you look at what the cryptocurrencies are building, it's not like me and you going out and buying stocks and shares or gold or bonds. It's not like that. When you buy a cryptocurrency, you're funding other projects like the building of financial payment infrastructures or online gaming communities, or depending on what your coin is. And it's.
So where's the benefit? You can't even give me a benefit yet.
Well, the people playing the games, that crypto has helped to fund benefit because they enjoy playing the game.
Okay, so you benefit gambling and alcoholism and shit like that. It's just no good, is it? It's no good at all. It's nothing. It's the perfect storm of marketeering that I said earlier. It's just fuck all being built up to get the money for those who are building it up. And that's all it is. And if you're on the train, well, fine, you're on the train. But fundamentally, it's just wrong.
So it's the biggest Ponzi scheme ever.
Exactly.
Oh, no, we've got a split
Exactly.
2 for and 2 against. Oh, no.
But what about the coins that are looking to speed up transaction speed, for transfers and instant payments?
Lee, I can see that you're taking the benefit of that every day of the week. Yeah, you know.
I know what it is,
Bollocks.
Nigel. I know exactly the problem here. It's easy to sell to a salesman because they believe the shit they're being told, and that's you two down there on my screen.
I'm glad you realise I'm not a salesman. So.
No, I guess that. No. You're a technical man who knows his industry.
You see, what are the podcasts?
Not that these two aren't either, but they're both salesmen. To be a salesman, you have to know in your head that people believe the sales shit.
What other
I don't sell shit.
podcast in Fenestration gives you this? Supply chain management and crypto. And rugby.
Guitars, rugby, Halloween stories, and bad jokes.
Someone said to me
By
the
the
other
way,
day...
Lee,
By the way, while we're talking about bad jokes, well, Nigel,
Lee,
sorry.
we need you to give us a bad joke.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, why are ghosts bad liars?
Why?
Because you can see straight through them.
Yay! Now
See,
then.
Wouldn't
and
be the
even
same.
both
Wouldn't be the
just
same.
come
would
in
it?
these- say a
Wouldn't be
boom,
the same.
just on the spot.
Lee, I've just had a text. ANGB. Bang out of order.
Oh. Oh, Kev's got the
Go
corkers.
on, Kev.
Kev's got the
It's
corkers.
one of my favourites, you know?
Kev's got the corkers. Do you know Facebook's changed their name to Meta?
This is all the new trend with metaverse, and that's...
It's also a marketing ploy because they're getting a load of shit for being terrible for human health, and they've
Marketing, we love it.
they've decided that let's the metaverse. You'll love that, Kev.
Human health.
Well,
Does that go? They need to look at human health.
well, the whistleblower. I mean, they won't change anything. The whistleblower. Forgot her name now, but last couple of weeks she's testified in the US and she's given evidence here. And if you believe everything she says, basically saying teenagers are in a terrible place because of Instagram and Facebook. And I believe it, actually. I think things like Instagram, if you're a teenager, are terrible. So as a market, I think, so they're doing the old switcheroo and changing their company to Meta. Meta, yeah. So it's short for Metaverse. And it's... Kev's off for a refill. It's the Metaverse is the sort of digital world that is going to envelop the real world. I think they were always headed this way anyway, but I think they've accelerated the rollout because they want to deflect from the shit that they're being given in Parliament. But the Metaverse, Nigel, would be somewhere, for example, where you could see decal-used bifolds. You could put on a headset, and a homeowner, in theory, could see. And this is just one example of the metaverse. You could put on a headset, view that bifold as a product through your, spin it round, see every angle, and at the same time, potentially buy it.
Yeah, and I think being a meta environment, we would go as a Deceuninck environment. But I think things will work naturally into the digital environment, and we just need to be sensible. And everyone looks at the new L2, all the new building regs. There's only 2 or 3 products that work anyway, so you don't need a meta environment.
No, I mean the metaverse is something that's probably going to exist in the next 10 or 15 years. But suppose
I think the metaverse works now. I think it's really interesting. Would it change the theme now? But I really think that people are starting to look at things and going, really? I don't know. This is on social media, so I can't name names. But there are competitors that haven't got a fucking clue on how they're going to compete in the next 12 months.
No, and that's an immediate problem. I think things like the metaverse is
going forward.
It's going forward, correct. And what we're at now is at the beginning of that transformation. We're not in the transformation, we're at the beginning of the transformation.
No, but our industry is at the beginning because the majority of our industry do not understand.
No, but if they did, the potential is massive. Because here's the other thing. And this matters from a youth and attracting skills point of view, as well as a winning business point of view. John Vanstone in the comments here, Jason, ever started a conversation without knowing where you're going? Hashtag metaverse. I know where I'm going with this, John, you cheeky bugger.
Keep going.
I'm just... How rude. I'm thinking from... Because I'm looking at I mean... There's Facebook and there's others looking at the virtual reality side of things, the augmented reality side of things. And there's already software out there which allows you to look at a product. I mean, we'll use our industry. So you could have a decal window, for example. And maybe that platform to view that product is... So one of your fabricators could go to one of your installers and say, right, you can, or via an installer, provide the service to the homeowner and say, right, this homeowner, through a headset, can see your product, spin it round, see every minute detail, and within the software itself, and this already exists because me and Lee have seen it, you can physically buy the product. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that we're all going to start buying windows that way, but in theory, you could buy silicon, if you can get hold of it. You could buy door handles, you could buy cylinders. There is nothing to stop someone going online at this moment in time if someone provided the ability to do so, because the software does exist where you could, through augmented reality, look at a product. It's a standardized product and you could purchase volumes of it. And
it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
you could buy,
go on, Nigel.
You can buy, right, anything digitally. Right, what you can't do is have the kids and have the young people come through to make those products.
No, I mean I'm looking.
Right? No, I take what you're saying about being able to order it and do it, but we right, our age now, right, I'm a little bit older than you, right, Lee, you're a little bit older than me, but I have to put that in, right. But we need to bring young children into our industry now to make them do it. You can buy anything online. You still need, in our industry, people to make it.
So my argument is, I mean, look, the AR side, the VR side is going to revolutionise, I think. Not now.
By the way, Nigel, you need to be... we've signed a partnership with the biggest augmented reality company in the world. They've already done spatial mapping awareness and metaverse stuff
of London, the entire
London,
city of London.
City of London did some projects with them. They're doing more. You need to be speaking to them moving forward, by the way, just to have a chat to them. But we've signed a partnership with these moving forward to uniquely work with them. And you're right, it's a mix. You've still got to people. We've got to get people to make the products, but the way the buying, the way people are purchasing products, and the way they will in 10 years is going to be totally different to where we are now.
Yeah,
but you still need people to make the product.
Yeah, you will.
You still need to get kids.
Go on, Kev.
Interested in what we're doing and get them into the factories.
Yes.
And you've still got someone who's got to punch the profile, who's got to put it together, who's got to make that window. It doesn't matter what anybody feels about like some digital fucking building. Somebody has got to make that window, and we've got to get kids and get young people to absolutely understand and get excited about our industry.
Yeah. And
there's two issues here, Nigel. I agree with you on that.
Hold on, Lee. Let Kev come in there.
Can I go further? And can I say that the way it's all going is that the youngsters have got a total disconnect with using their hands. There doesn't seem to be the thing about go and make something, go and do something, go and build something. It's all.
Do you know what? I agree to a point. I agree to a point. Now, a couple of things. So Leon Day said on the comments on YouTube, our industry needs to take responsibility to attract youth. This can only be done if we all work together. This is a great industry.
It's not just our industry.
No, I know. But I mean, we're just looking at this from a fenestration prism. We all need to shout about it in volume together. Totally agree. Now, I understand what you're saying, and obviously, you know, there's a huge amount of digitization of the entire planet and every profession. It's affecting everything. But Nigel is also right. We still need the hands to make it. Now, the problem for me doesn't lie with the kids. It lies with the education system because, and what am I, 32? So I left school 15 years ago. And not much has changed because my wife has been recently a teacher up until the last couple of years. Kids are not being given the avenues and opportunities to explore something other than university.
It's not sexy. It's not sexy. 100%. It's not sexy.
But
digital's the thing.
No, I know. But all the kids are being. And I remember when I was in school, and I was 14, 15, and that's when the brainwashing started about uni, and you've got to do this, you've got to have a degree, and da-da-da-da. And we sat in halls and had speeches from university people who came in and talked to us about Leeds Uni and this uni and that uni. And I'm sat there thinking, what if I don't... I mean, I weren't particularly bothered. I had the grades to go or not. It's up to me. But I remember when I was lucky. I had a family-run business that I could just fall into. Not everyone's got that opportunity. But
I think it's far more fundamental than that.
Well,
I do.
But the thing is, if the education... Because the people we need to aim at are not your university leavers. They're not 18-year-olds. At that point, it's too late. We need to be getting in front of 14 and 15-year-olds.
Like you said, you did that poll about would you invite your kids into the industry? It's the parents say, come on get your hands dirty, come on do this, come on do this. Oh no, I want to university.
But my argument is we need to be going into schools because all I've seen for the last 10 years, I mean, Kev's followed, I've written about this for as long as I've had the blog. Which is a long time, and I've said for a very, very long time that we're now at the point I've said we would happen where the lack of labour and skills is really killing us, and for a long time I've said unless the education system, so that for me is the ground level, unless kids are being taught woodwork and offered opportunities in other vocations and trades, if you don't change that, they're never going to see that world. Never going to see it.
I've been quiet. I've got a bit to say on this. I think we're living in I'm from outside the industry. We're living in a glazing bubble because everyone loves this industry. I do not think this is going to be a problem moving forward with hands-on work. I think people are getting them jobs, just not in this industry. Electricians, plumbers, builders, joiners, they're there. They're still coming through.
They are, but there's still shortages of them.
Being rooted in the education system, right? That will always be there because we'll always need it. Whether we take it seriously as an industry is a different story. We've got to at some point. How we do that? I mean, there's a few ideas at the minute. We're building our skills and a couple of other things, but this is the difference is that won't change. I'm not saying everything will go digital because you're right, Nigel, Kev. People will have to still make.
You have to make things.
Still need that, but that will happen. That will still happen. You'll not lose that. But the way people that will buy, the way people are going to buy and consume content and products is going to be completely different in 10 years. Whether we like it or not, it's coming. I were banging my head against a brick wall 10 years ago, convincing people to use video, right? What's happening now? People are using video all the time. Video, everything's video. We're doing video now. It's coming. It might be 5-10 years away for the more restrictive areas of business not wanting to use it, but it's coming. And we've got to adapt now. The clever companies have got to be looking at both. We've got to get people into the industry, but we've also got to look at different ways of promoting the industry to consumers.
Yeah. Lee, can I just interject there?
Hold on. Sorry.
I've got a major issue with this because I've just taken my 18-year-old child, right, who is not interested in the slightest in academia, right. I put him into one of my friends who runs a fabrication business in Cardiff, right. He's taken him in as an apprentice, and he is absolutely loving it. He gets up at like fucking 6 o'clock in the morning, and rides his bike a motorbike into Cardiff, and loves it. He makes windows.
Good lad.
It's really quick, but that's by the by. Right, he loves it. What we need to do, right, is get into schools, get into the academia, and go. It's not about going into doing a degree and all that.
Yeah.
It's about looking at something and going, right, there is a career in starting on the CNC, doing bits and going through. We need to get the kids to understand that there is a way of making a living and being really good at what you do.
Yep.
Right? And it's not about digital. It's not about anything bollocks, because I'm not being funny, but I've seen a company in Italy that spent £1 million on doing a machining centre. That when it came out the end, what did after people do? A man move it and put glass on it. Yeah. Right? It's all about people. It's about people. In our industry, we need to get the kids into it and enjoying it.
Totally agree.
Nigel,
Kev, go on.
Can I just jump in here now?
Yeah.
This is a bugbear, right? A real fucking bugbear, right? Look at this television screen. Look at the screen you're looking at now, right? Who are the video producers here? Tell me. It's not me. But who can you see? Who's well lit? Who's going to present better presentation? It's me. Because I take an interest in it. Yeah. I've lit it. I've got 2 lights pointing at your back wall, and the whole wall's shining on my face.
And ironically,
down there, great respect. You're selling a video. You do all this. You can't see your faces very well, and it's all a bit blurred.
Well, no, I can see everybody else's. I can see everybody else's. Lee's is rubbish. Lee's not turned his light. He's not paid his bill. He can't turn his light on.
I'm saving. I've got energy saving light bulbs, guys. Sorry.
You don't understand the lighting of the scene you're in, though. And I love it because I'm a practical guy. That takes an interest in me. So I kind of love that shit. And I think that's the sort of thing that practicality brings to someone.
And that's
and I love that shit.
And Kev's right. So there's been some comments on YouTube, so let me go through a few of them. Leon Day.
I'm sharp.
Leon Day on YouTube. Agree, Jason, you know my thoughts. This sector's been great to me and I'm proud to be part of it. Our image to the public is not great and we need to stand up and resolve it. Agreed. Samantha Hill. There is quite a lot of generic promotion for construction. Yeah. This is down to businesses offering people the right opportunities. We are dealing with different mindset. New generation, new times. Agree. Callum Williams, 100% with hitting the schools and enticing them from rat age. And then Samantha with an opposing view. This isn't about talking in schools. The thing is, I know the school things work because I sat in those assemblies where people from university came and talked to my year. And a lot of my year went to the universities that came and talked to them. Now, my wife's a teacher, and this frustrates her as well because she knows half the class is not academically gifted. It's not. It's just not, okay? It's whether you like that fact or not, but she could see who would be better practically. And when we mean practically, it could be from an engineering point of view, joinery, glazing, or an engineer, or plastering. You get the thing. Now, going back to Samantha's point, this is a new generation. Now, the one thing I think we've been doing wrong, and whether we like digital or not, we have to appeal to the generation that is about to come up to work in the next few years, okay? And where is the next generation at? They don't read papers, they don't watch TV, they go on, whether we like it or not, and I am no longer a young person as much as I'd like to think I am not. The generation below me is the one that matters. And they watch...
Listen to the parents, Jace.
Say that again?
The parents. They see the parents' experience, and they're all moving away from getting their hands dirty. They're all moving away from
I agree to some degree, but they're also heavily influenced by Instagram, by TikTok, by YouTube, and the vast majority...
We're not using that. If we're
not utilising any of it well enough at all.
We're not using them formats to entice them into that work. We're going to miss that audience.
You can't sit there on a video and say, do this, build something. You've got to experience it. You've got to know what it's like to produce something and look at it. And that's not schools. That's back earlier than school. That's family. And the families don't do that anymore. Families buy things. They don't make things anymore. I mean, in my garage, I've got all my dad's tools. He was a tool maker. That's what he did. He was a tool. He ended up as a quality engineer in Fords in Headford, which is why I'm in Chester. But his tools were passionate to him, and I understood the tools. And when I was a kid, I worked with my hands. I worked with tools, and I didn't start on the tools. I grew to the tools because I loved it, and I could work in the factory. I worked in quality control. I worked in inspection, and I was a production manager, and it was great. But at the end of the day, I wasn't looking at anything and saying, "That's mine." Now I've got a proper tradesman's attitude. I drive up the street, and anyone sat beside me said, "That's one of mine. That's one of mine."
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Get it?
Go on, Lee.
I get it, but right. Kids nowadays, they're picking up iPads and phones at 3 and 4 year olds, sometimes younger, right? Whether we like it or not, it's a different thing. Whether it's down to the parents, it's irrelevant. It's happening, right? And if we don't get in front of these people, and you can show them, Kev, it's not about, for me, it's not about, you can't teach them on a video, but you
can entice them to take the first step.
Can you influence them that it's a good job? Yes, you can. There's people doing it now for different trades. There's people doing it now.
No, because I believe it starts earlier than videos and shit. It starts with digging a hole and digging a soil, getting them interested in using hands, and people just don't do it.
No, Kev. Listen.
They don't spend the same time with the kids.
So make good content on these socials that show them that making a hole is fun. That planting your own garden.
Go on, Nigel. Go on. Nigel, go on. Jump in, pal.
There's a serious problem in the community, right? We need to realise that some children can and will be academic, the others aren't, right?
Yep.
And unfortunately, for the last 20 years, right, everyone's gone, and it's cost me a bloody fortune, and my kids, they've gone university, right? We as business owners and everything else need to make people aware, and the kids aware, that there is another way, right? You can do something else. You can come into a business and you can do work, and you can come into and do, I don't know, a stupid apprenticeship, right? and you can be something else. You don't need to go to university, and all the hassle and all the bullshit about that, and all the arguments we just had for. I just sat there for 5 minutes just watching it, just going, "That's bollocks," right? We need to give kids, right, our kids, everyone's kids, the opportunity to do what they want to do. Where they want to go and work and be a metal basher. Do you want to play on the car? Do you want to play on Windows? Do you want to do what? Let them do it.
Yeah. And listen, and that to me, Nigel, I agree with what Kevin is not wrong when he says kids are influenced at the very beginning. I mean, this is why we like, okay, this is an example. So just a minute, Lee. So when we had our garden done, we had a specific area built to allow Spencer to dig and grow things.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we wanted him from a young age to be used to that. He's been around animals, for example. I know it's not Windows, but the point is, if you influence a child at an early age with something, they grow up with it and get used to it. Now, he's also growing up with a phone in his hand, and he's watching videos. So he's getting both. We're teaching him how to grow strawberries, and he's also growing up with the technology around him, and whether we agree, whether it's a healthy thing or a practical thing.
But he will Google, how do I grow better strawberries?
Correct. Exactly. Now, when I was at school, Kev's doing his not here. So when I was at school, I was never offered an alternative. What I've said and I've written about this, I must have written about 30 times by now. We people my age, so the 30-year-olds, the generation that really should be taking over, the senior people that are now retiring but are
Please
not.
do. I'm not senior, but I agree.
But I was never given that option, and I'm not saying I would have done, but had someone come to go, all right, you don't want to go to university, but have you thought about being an engineer, or have you thought about being? I mean, shit, we didn't even get a good business course, for God's sake. I mean, we didn't. All we got told was do something with ology on the end and go to Leeds Uni, and you get a degree and you'll have everything in the world and everything's fine.
I know something about Leeds.
Well, that's your fault, not mine. But what we're paying for now...
As a Chelsea fan, I know a song about Leeds as well.
What we're paying for now is what Nigel said. For the past 20, 30 years, we've been ploughing everyone into universities, and now look, we're 217,000 construction workers short. We're thousands of window fitters short. We're thousands of plasterers short. I wonder why. Because we've told every bugger to go to university and not try something else.
So I'll bring it back to what I keep saying.
Well, while you do, I'm just going to dip off for 2 minutes.
It doesn't matter whether we like it or not. We have now got 2 generations of people glued to social media. I went on a walk and I was watching a woman pushing a pram, not even looking where she was going, with a phone in front of her, and you could see she was obviously on social media. That's what you see. The people glued to phones wherever they go, and whether you like it or not, that's where the influence of the 2 generations are coming, the parents and the kids. And until industries involved in manual labour get how to market, and I don't care what you think of marketing, until we learn to market to that job spec, to that demographic, we're not going to solve the problem. That's simple as it is. You can hate it as much as you like, and I do. Listen, I'm involved in it and I don't agree with it, but I know where it's going. No. We're not doing it right.
I think the kids should be nailed into using their hands before marketing ever comes along.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not.
The parents who did the practical jobs to take the kids to do the practical jobs don't exist anymore.
No, you've got to influence them.
And the jobs that were there for the kids who weren't practical at school really aren't quite the same anymore. The factories that did that and went bang, bang, glazed up bar, bang, bang, glazed up bar, bang, bang, glazed up bar. They're not there. So there are a few of them there, but there's jobs that people just stand there, walking at 8 o'clock, clock on, and knock 4 bars on a window. Some of them are there, but it's not the same. The technology means that jobs are more skilled, more technical. And you've got to get someone to want to be and learn technical before they get to school.
But we're not. We're losing that generation, and unless we influence them, So unless we influence them in the way that they used to now, which is, like it or not, you've got to return. It's already there. We have got to take them from that point back to manual labour, and that's the only way we're going to do it. And I agree with it.
Well, pay them shitloads of money, and then all of a sudden it's attractive.
Kev, I grew up with my grandparents as much as my parents, because my parents were working 2 and 3 jobs at a time, right? So I'm old school. I sat with my granddad in his garage. I was the only person. I had, I don't know, I've got about 15 cousins. We'd all go round to my grandma's on a weekend. I was the only one he'd allow in his garage while he were fixing his cars. And I'd sit underneath there. Do you know what? I've grown up with all that. I believe in all that. But that generation is shifting and shifting. And unless where they're focused and bring them back, we're going to fail. And we can sit here and discuss it all day about we need to get them early, But the only way we're going to do that is by accepting that they're thinking differently nowadays. Whether it's right or wrong is a different story.
Do you know?
On a lighter note, I do have a song about my granddad's shed.
Mark.
The tools and the shit I found in my granddad's shed, and knocking and the filing and the chiseling that I did in my granddad's shed.
Do you know what's nice? Do you know what's nice is, we've all got different points of view.
Tiramisu is nice.
We all actually agree on the end result. We need more people in this industry, and that's nice. It means we all want to end up in the same place. Okay. And it may be that we need 2 or 3 different ways to get there. It may be we need to go down Kevin's route and a more practical route. I still believe that we need to go where the people are, the generation are, and that means the internet. Okay, but the thing is, we've all been so passionate about this subject. If what we've got in comments in YouTube now saying we need to do this together. If we can combine the passion we feel for this particular subject together, I think we can make progress. Because here's the other thing as well. I'm going to quite a rose-tinted point here, right? The elements we've got in this industry, we should be one of the best industries in this country, because you've got all facets of it, okay? You've got the practical side, a manufacturing side, where kids can get qualifications and apprenticeships and be skilled at something and be good at something practical. That's a great thing to have. And then you've got the sales side of things, where you hone your skills in earning money and dealing with the public. That's also a great skill to have. But then you also get to work on people's houses. Think about this for a second. What we do, selling windows and doors, is involved in every building on planet Earth, right? Our industry, think about that for a second. We're in an industry that affects every single building on the planet. So
may I ask a question then?
Yeah, fire away.
Right. We pay a lot of money every year to be a part of the CAB, Council Aluminium Building.
Yep.
Does that give me any value? Not really. Does it give my kids any value? No. Does it give you guys any value? No. Right? How do we, right, as industry professionals, as we are, how do we sit there and say to kids, right, don't go there, do this? How do we do it? I don't know, right?
You can. I think you can.
No. I will spend a fortune, right? I will give you as much money as I can afford, right, to get kids into our industry, because I believe that we can give children and we can bring kids into what we're doing. I've done it with my own kids. Yeah. I think it's a fantastic industry, but it's dying because everyone wants to go and do something else.
Well, John, sorry, Kev, just a minute. No, go on.
Dying. It's. I started trained quite well, I have to say, but then I went, I can do that. And most companies start, I can do that, and it needs a little bit of training and a little bit of and a few cogs start to say, oh, the boss has got that's a nice car. How did the boss get that car?
Exactly.
He got that car because he worked his nuts off and he learned this. And that's what, but you've got to get them, you've got to get people to want to use the hounds. And that's the bit that I'm trying to get through to people. But once they're doing that, they get like, and then before you know it, they've often bought another business and started again. That's fine. My business model is training kids up.
So Kev's not wrong.
Kids.
Kev's not wrong. It's making that link with kids to saying using your hands, learning a trick is a good thing. Now, John said it. I was going to make this point, but John said it in the comments at the same time. We as an industry need to have role models that young people want to be. Now, this goes back to my point about, I mean, it's making role models in our industry visible. Now, we do this in two ways, from my point of view. Okay, we do this in two ways. One, you do it the way Lee has already said about using videos and getting it out on social media. And I don't just mean me or some, I mean, we're talking about CEO. I mean, we need influential people at the heads of businesses to actually talk to people and go, right, I started at the bottom and worked my way up. Like good examples of people who have started at the bottom, worked their way, doing video work, getting in front of people. Second, do the same, but in person, in school. So in the same way that my school got people from university to talk to me about going to their university, the heads of systems companies, the heads of super fabricators, the head of a big installations business in their area needs to go into school and go, I've made a bloody good career out of selling windows. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you think your parents tell you it is. I started at your age as a chippy, as a fabricator, as a fitter, and I own this business, and I have that car, and I can go on that holiday. And you know what? Kids will buy into that if you get the right role models there.
Okay, I'm gonna throw an hand grenade in now. An hot potato.
That's not like you.
Yeah, well, another bad joke then.
Go on, Lee.
Okay, it's been controversial because we've got building out. We work with GQA a lot and building our skills, and I'll say this, right? As an industry, there's a lot of people, including us all, sat here saying we want kids to come into industry. We need it. Not we want. It's got to happen. It has got to happen.
Yeah, it has to now.
And now, not 5-10 years ago, it should have been happening, right? Okay, so I'm going to put this out there because there's a lot of discussions ongoing. There were a conference last week that discussed it as well. But I want to know how serious we are as an industry because I don't think we talk a lot and we don't. And me and Jason had this discussion pre this. We talk a lot.
Talk and don't do
about it. There's a lot of talk and no action, right? So I guarantee you now, nobody in this industry, and I'll wait to be proved wrong, and no doubt someone will tell me that they are, even when they're not. But I'll guarantee you now, nobody's mapped out the UK in areas where there's low employment or school leavers not going to university, where we could be targeting these people you're talking about right now. Who's mapping it out? Have we got associations doing that? Have we? As an association, would I expect the DGF or Fencer to be looking at something like that to help the industry? Yes, I would. If it was, no.
Lee,
I know you're laughing. Okay,
Lee, you're a marketing person, yeah?
Yeah.
Why don't you do it then?
Because I haven't got time.
No.
Why not? That's not an answer.
Right, okay, Nigel.
That's not an answer.
No.
All of us.
This is an industry-wide. This is an industry-wide problem. What I'm saying is, if the industry should be doing this, it's not my responsibility. I've got a business to run myself. Why is nobody doing it? I don't need those my young people will come because I'm in marketing, right? I don't need to. But what I'm saying is, as an industry, and this is the same in construction and plumbing and electricians, and why are we not looking deeper at solutions? Because we talk too much.
Can I ask a question then? Why aren't you doing that?
Because I've just told you.
Yeah, because you've got a business, then you're doing this and you're doing that.
So
same as the rest of us.
So what it's going to take is...
I'll tell you what I'm doing,
Work
Nigel.
together.
I'll tell you what I'm doing. We're supporting, and we've put a ton of resource again supporting building our skills. Do I think everything that they're doing is right? No, I don't. Do I think some of what they're doing is right? Yes, I do. Could I do it on my own? Have I got the resources? No, I haven't. And I haven't got the money to do it. So I can't do it.
What tends to happen in this scenario is the glazing industry tends to sort itself out. I remember working at Williams's on the bench and early management, whatever, and we'd supply to the likes of a company, one of our biggest companies, a company called Lightfoot Windows in London, and they were based just outside London, Loughton, and they were building glazing office blocks, and they were paying £500, £600 a week in 1979, 1980, and every one of us who knew it was there knew we could go and earn that money because we could handle glass, we could put it up as lace, we could handle suckers, and we could carry. And that's all they wanted, pretty much people who could lift all day and do that. Because there's no real skill to a lot of the stuff. It was just physically manhandling big pieces of glass, getting into position and putting them there, knocking some rubbers in, bolting a few clamps in, and away you go. And you're working for an office block. But we didn't go, we didn't in London.
So
you'll be pissed off now because they're earning £270 a day.
I mean, I'm just going to mention
that was 30 years, 40 years ago. It doesn't matter.
So I suppose the other thing is as well. I mean, the thing is here is
says it.
Is everyone's, as Lee said, and I've said it before. We talk a lot, but I've always been frustrated about the lack of action. There's been some people who've tried to do some things, but they've not been that effective. So I am.
Jason, just let me hold you there, because Nigel asked a very relevant question. You've asked me why I don't do that. There's two.
Coffee. He's on a coffee.
Who's on
a coffee?
Is it a tea or coffee that night?
Tea.
Tea.
Oh, good old English tea.
What it is.
Good old English tea.
It's not chocolate, Horlicks.
There's two folds to this. We gave an opportunity to the industry at the last Digital Fenestration to promote to youngsters. You don't know how much we paid in revenue to support this, Nigel, but we put substantial money and we brought 400 people to that exhibition who were from schools, colleges and universities. Do you know the content we got back from people to get involved?
Crap.
That.
You know what then? I chatted to one of my customers and put 3 young guys into doing as an apprentice in our industry.
Excellent.
Just by talking to them and just going, right, actually, we need kids in. They can't get skilled people in. So it's like, literally, look at it. Look at the government and get through. I've done 3 kids into this business, right?
So you've done more than anyone, really, just by doing that.
Because I believe in what we're doing.
Right?
Nigel, but there is people like you. There is people like you, and this is a thing. And Sam, and there's a couple of other people commenting. They're right. What needs to be done is, and you mentioned it earlier, you've got to work together as an industry, right? There needs to be a panel, but there needs to be serious money put against it. I haven't got the money to solve that. Does it directly affect me? Yeah, it does, because if you haven't got the staff coming through, I can't have my media and events.
It's not about money. It's not about money.
It's about time.
It's both, Nigel. You can't do it. You can't. You've got to do it, and it's going to take money. You can't. There's no way is time and energy going to solve this. It's going to take a budget to do it.
Let me put an alternative thing here. So the thing I'm looking at here is, again,
we want to get involved.
Everyone's got the end goal. Everyone wants to be in the same place where we have more people and a better talent pool. Okay. And again, I'm just keeping an eye on the comments while we're talking, and it's all in and around the same thing, and it's getting in front of people. Now, I am willing, and I will say this here, I am willing to go to. We've got an academy down the road from where we live. There's about 2,800 kids who go there. Okay, I am more than willing, and I will go talk to them. I will actively approach them myself, because they won't knock on the door. I will go to them and say, right, I want to have a chat with what year would it be now? Year 10? Are they 15 years old in year 10, I think, something like that? I will go speak to your year 10 or year 11 age groups and speak to them about our sector. Now,
yeah, can I interject there?
Yeah, go on.
I haven't been into the schools to chat with the kids, but I've been to the schools to chat with the schools. And the schools can't give me the kids. And I don't want to go into the schools and say, guess what, Adam, this is fantastic. Please come and join us. Oh, I'll have one of you. Competitors will have 4 of you.
And I know
it's just not a thing.
I know what you're saying. The advantage I've got is that because that academy is huge, it's one of the biggest schools in the area. They've got quite a diverse. To be fair to them, they're actually quite diverse. They still don't have a very good sort of trades program, but they do offer other things, and they do offer opportunities.
I think
to go talk.
You need to offer things at different levels.
Yeah.
You need to be able to go in and go, right, the guys that, and you can't do this with kids, but the guys that aren't really academic, I can offer you something. The guys that are slightly academic, I can do this. Or the guys that are really clever, why don't you go into this?
I just want the opportunity in the same way I got the, like I say, when I was 15, 16 years old, we were dragged into a hall in an assembly and was given a talk to by a university professor. Now, I would like to do the same thing, but for our sector, and say to look and say to these.
I was told when I was 15 that the best course of my my career was being a fucking nuclear scientist, and I went,
nuclear scientist.
Yeah, because I lived in Thornbury.
Right.
We had 3 nuclear power stations just down the road, and I went, I'm really bored with that. I want to do something in building. Right? I ended up doing a degree in architecture, and then got bored with that and ended up in Windows. It was really weird.
I was that far from being a nuclear scientist. And I say that one of the careers came in and says, go to British Nuclear Fuels, BNFL in Cape and Hurst, right? They want draftsmen. I said, yeah, I'm good at technical drawing. I can do that. So I went there for an interview, right? And I did the interview. And in all the sales bunch and the sales shit, it said, we want this, you want that, we want that. And it said, for the really clever ones, but we might sponsor you to university. So I thought, okay, fine. I did the interview, and they were all there, the panel was there. There were 6 guys. I was 16. And you think, oh, I'm shy. But I went and did it. I'm like, at the end, have you got any questions? I said, yeah, they did. They gave me circuit boards, they gave me tools, they gave me all sorts. And they're all ticking the boxes. And I said, any questions? I said, yeah. I said, I understand that if you're successful in the apprenticeship, you can get sponsored to opportunity. And fuck off. And that's
do you remember, Mark? It was all about the old like printouts that went white and green, white and green, white and green, white and green. It was like, yeah, that's you. Right? And that's the thing that I get with my kids. It's not that's you.
No.
The kid. What you got to understand is these kids and anybody. I don't say kids. I could have someone who's 40 years of age who comes in and goes, I want to do something different.
Yeah.
Do it. It's not about kids. It's about enjoying and understanding that we as an industry enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
And we want people to enjoy.
And this is it now.
It's a passion. And you
right.
only see
Okay.
a passion when you get involved with the people who are doing it.
Exactly. Now, Kev, you're right. It's a passion, and look how passionately we've all talked about this particular issue, and we've all had. They're not even disagreements. They're just different opinions on how we get to the same end. Okay. And
do you know what? Me and Jason could sit here, by the way, and not really. We could skim over it and pretend that we can get away. We're not really promoting this. It don't matter to us short term. We're not involved. Yeah, but we're not involved in that. We're not. we're not going to suffer from the lack of.
Well, I am. We need another fitting crew at work, and we can't find one. So.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the marketing and event side. But we are passionate about it. We want, and it's.
So what?
It's disingenuous. We want this industry to work
because it's good for everybody.
We're passionate about it.
Now, what Kev said there about being passionate is right. It's how. How
you express that passion.
Exactly. Now, what my argument, and this is where I think the point about having what Nigel said about coming at it from different angles and different ways is, my argument is the 14, 15-year-olds that we need to reach out to. My way to get my passion out, and you'll see this soon because I'm starting. I've joined TikTok, Kev. You'll love that. So I've joined TikTok. Okay. So you're going to be seeing. Well, you might not be seeing it, but some people will be seeing TikTok content. Okay. I'm starting up my. I've got my YouTube channel, which I'm gearing up for. I'm going to be creating video content. It's going to be for the industry, but it's also going to be for outside the industry, and there'll be some.
Can I ask you, Jason?
Yeah, go on.
How many 16-year-olds have you took on?
At work?
Yeah.
Oh, we've in recently we've had 3.
Good lad. Because when you say what we need is fitting teams, you got to pay stupid money to get a fitting team.
Yeah. So what we try and do is I mean, I'll give you an example. So our
you start with a mate.
But we actually trained up our surveyor when he was 16, and he stayed with us for 13 years, and then he moved down south. So that's his fault. But we have done it, and we'll continue to do.
So we do it. Yeah.
The getting in young thing, but unfortunately, that's not happening across the board. So what I'm saying to you is Nigel spoke brilliantly about his son being in the industry, and Kev has spoke brilliantly about the way he's come into it. My point is yeah, go on.
You constantly talk about the industry, and I'm constantly thinking, because at installer level, they don't actually see themselves in an industry. They see themselves as installers. They see themselves as individual money makers, and they don't necessarily get the bigger picture of an industry.
Well, perhaps that's
what they want a lift. They want to help. They want someone to do some work with them.
Yeah.
But they don't see it as a bigger picture. They just want their own bit to work well.
That's
okay. So
let Nigel come back on that. Go on, Nigel.
Can I come in there? Please?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'll come in there, please. As a system supplier, we always looked at the installer. So many steps away from us, you couldn't do anything with them, right? I was lucky when we started Deceuninck, right, where the installers pushed up and pulled down to have our product.
Yeah.
I think that the installer market is so massive and needs to have a massive voice, right? So someone needs to grab hold of the installers and say, right, this is what we're about. We are the biggest voice in our industry.
Which is true.
But they don't do it. They see themselves as individuals.
So what can we do, Kev? What can we do to join them all up? Because Nigel is right. Without installers, nothing else matters above.
No, absolutely, he's right. But the trouble is, the way the industry, it's a pretty new industry. It's only been going 30 years, 40 years. It's not embedded in our kind of psyche. And it's all about, take the white gold, it's all about, shit, I can make money doing this shit. And everyone's kind of joined in. And it's got lots of small bits that don't really tie together at the end of the fingers. The end of the fingers are all off doing their own thing, but the hands are having to try and bring them all together.
Go on, Nigel. Sorry.
The arms, I'm thinking,
Go on, Nigel.
I think for us, we're one step beyond, right? So we deal with trade fabricators who then deal with installers. Okay, but
one step beyond.
And I said this the other day at the Glazing Summit. There is a massive disconnect between the people that actually install our product to the people that sell it, right? And we need to find some way that we all connect and we can talk and we can get it done. And we understand that the installer, be it in a white van, be it in 20 white vans, be it in 30 fucking, branded vans, you're not selling a door, a bifold door, whatever, that's Alucay, that's Smart, that's Deceuninck, you're selling whatever door you want to sell. And the Origin, right? The massive difference is we need to connect with you guys to say, right, what do you want? What do you want? How do you want to be serviced? And how can we do that? Right? And the back of that is, how do we bring people in to service you? How do we do that? Because it's really, really important now that as a business, we're seen to be together. Because if someone buys a bifold off of you today, be it Alucay, me, whatever, any brand, they're going to ring me. Right? They're not going to ring you, not anybody else.
Nigel, how much of your stuff is rebranded? So they don't actually know it's your stuff?
To be honest, at the moment, I'm really lucky, right? Because we've only been on the market for 2 years. So most of my bifolds are mine, right? So they're Deceuninck or Deceuninck or whatever, right? However, having been sat previously in my other job, right? They were branded on other things, and there were problems, and it came back.
It must be hard when you're selling a product to a company who says, "No, they're mine. I've got to rebrand them as my product and sell them on." I mean, we all do it, but we all have the smaller end of the scale needs to kind of have a backup of a bigger name and use that name. Yeah?
Hey, I started my business 2 years ago from nothing, right? So the Deceuninck brand started from nothing 2 years ago, right? And I will stand by everything we do, right? And to be fair, I will stand by what I sold 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
What we've done with Deceuninck is tried to make people, and from the installer, from the fabricator, from everybody, just to make it easy. So, I'm quite, I am what I am, right? You see me in the press, you see I'm on here now. I am what I am. Yeah.
Do you know what?
It's nice to see some honesty. It's nice to see some honesty, Nigel. You speak with your heart on it. Your heart's on your sleeve.
There's not enough. I mean, me and Lee we've always been as we've always been. I've written as I've always written. Lee's spoken as I've always spoken. But it's. I mean, this is why we like to have Kev on, and Nigel's been fantastic as well. It's pure honesty. It's not sugar-coated. There's nothing political. And do you know what? Again, do you know what I think would be a good advert for this industry? This podcast. Because tonight has shown, I mean this, if somebody just stumbled on this right now, was lost and just, was looking for a new job, do you know what? The people speaking on here, talking so well about the industry that they're involved with, is a bloody good is a really, really good advert for this sector. Because, I mean, what you've not got on here is four guys just lying, just being polite about it. I mean, we could do that, but we're not.
We all sit here and agree, can't we? Really?
Yeah, of course we could. Yeah, and what we've had is this amazing debate where we've all had different opinions on how to get to the same end result.
I'm gonna throw another thing in here as well.
Go on, another Lee hand grenade. Go on, we haven't had enough yet.
It's not an hand grenade. It's just a theory, and I think it's right.
When I was in Ibiza,
I wish I could go back. I really do, but this is my theory, and it's more to do with psychology. And I've worked in the locksmithing industry.
Hold on, we're going to lose viewers here now, Lee. Hold on.
No. It's very simple.
Go on.
Very simple.
Go on.
all of the other big trades, to be able to do their job, they have got to have a set qualification as a standard that they have to show consumers.
That's right. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
In the locksmithing industry and our industry, we don't. Now, I'm not talking the old school guys that have been doing it 30, 40 years, but is this something we should be introducing in? It's a psychological thing to consumers, and it's a safety thing from an electric's point of view. Why aren't we having safety things with this industry? We should. It's glass, it's heavy, it could fall if it's not done properly. What I'm trying to say is, it seems to have a massive effect, and it's been going on as long as I've been alive, where that has enticed. So people think, well, if I pass it's changed now, whatever name the electrician's test is, I've got to pass that, the test to be an electrician. To be able to fit heating systems, I've got to pass that test. And straight away, it's a psychological thing with people. Right, I've actually got to work at this. It must be a proper career. And again, are we missing this psychological point in our industry by not having that?
Go on, Kev.
Psychologically, can I just say it's a beautiful one. That is one of the most beautiful points, because we've got an MTC. And what does an MTC stand for? Minimum technical compliance. For fuck's sake! I mean, what? Oh yeah, are you qualified? Oh yes, I have the minimum technical compliance to do this job. Oh yeah, what a bollocks! Absolute bollocks! I mean, if you have to call it an MTC, have a mandatory technical compliance, that would work. But minimum technical, fucking hell, shows the skill level at the top of our industry, doesn't it?
But again, that proves my point in a way.
Bizarre!
Psychologically, that's in your head.
Lee.
We've just admitted.
I think I'm above minimum, but fuck 'em. I'll take it.
Lee, next time we need, guests who get more, passionate about it. I mean, Kev's crap. We're not having him on again. It's too boring. It's just... Hold on. John, MTC actually stands for Mandatory Technical
it does now.
Competency.
It didn't used to. Changed it then.
MTC, Mandatory Technical.
Don't say not true on all heating systems. We're not getting into pedantics, John. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, people know they've got to have, they've got to be to a certain standard, and they've got to have that certification. I've
got to say, if you look
90% of the work.
If you look at gas and how they've gone about their qualifications, Lee is right about how they've gone about having all their installers being qualified. Yes, mate, go for a top up. And all their installers being qualified. And same with electricians. And they're quite strict on it.
They're not quite. You can't fit a job now without logging it.
I know, Mr. Semantics, I know. Yeah, they are very strict on it. Kev's brilliant. His passion's amazing. If you could bottle that and sell it to kids, man, we'd have 100,000 fitters immediately. Honestly. And this is the nice thing about these podcasts and stuff, is especially when we've got guests on as well, you get different views. We generally all have the same goals. We just have different roads of getting there. And I insist that this podcast is actually a good advert for the sector, because we haven't even talked about money. We haven't even gotten to the fact that this industry at the minute pays really, really good money. If you're a fitter, right?
Yeah, you make a fortune. As a system company,
make more than me. Make more than me. I mean, Jesus, our fitting crews are walking away with, what do they get paid this week? $2,000.
Again, we've discussed this a few weeks ago.
$2,000 for a week's work.
It's almost like it's a taboo subject. If you
Lee
look at all
Lee wants to stop doing marketing now, and he wants to
start fitting windows. Lee,
it's a lot more beneficial, I've got to say.
Lee, get your mandatory technical competency. Get yourself in a van.
All all the banter from tradespeople, and is it the electricians? They always said they wipe their arses on £50 notes and stuff.
They're not lying, though.
Subject. This industry classes it as a taboo subject. I think we don't mention it enough. It is ridiculous money.
Listen, the one thing kids are growing up with is more openness of money. So I've always argued that when we try and make this sector attractive to people, I know we keep saying kids, but Nigel's right as well about, you know, ex-forces or people looking for careers. It's not just kids. It's anybody. It's anybody. Yeah. It's anybody.
Anyone who's unemployed looking for a career change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, yes, you've got job satisfaction. Yes, you've got career progression. But let's face it, money is also a very, very big selling point to a job. It always is. Okay. Again, we're looking at fitting, but Nigel, I mean, you'll know your business. I mean, I'm sure, like everybody else, you're looking to recruit people, and I'm sure you're offering. You what, Lee?
Yeah, we currently are. Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, and I'm sure you're offering a very good wage, like everybody else, because you need to attract people to your company.
Designers. There'll be all sorts, won't there? Like you said, for the qualified people who have been to uni as well.
Yeah.
For us, I think the difference is, I don't want the old guy that turns up and has a cup of tea and goes, "Oh, is everything all right?" Oh, bang.
You want someone there who's crack a dawn and get straight on it.
Yeah, you want someone who can walk into a customer and be part of their business and go, right, I'm going to add value.
Yeah.
Right, and that may cost me a lot more money, but
the returns pay for that.
The value he gives to my customer, he is totally above.
Well, this is it.
I think your vertical hold's playing up, Jason. Vertical hold's gone wrong.
I mean, we keep talking about fitting, but you know,
carry on.
The industry's looking. Yes, we're looking for fitters, but we're also looking for drivers, pickers, fabricators, sales reps. We're not just looking for fitters. Our industry's short of everyone at the minute. I mean, drivers is a great example.
Factory people, designers, engineers, marketing, sales.
Good shout. Designers and engineers, massive hole at the moment.
I can't do the engineer, but I'd love the designer bit. Not in Jason's designer bit, but going back many moons ago, I sat with my previous MD that was ISO Systems, Mike Ryan. He went from Williams's to part of the Leadlight group as it was at the time, and he went into PVC because that's where he was taken by his director at the time, and he always wanted an aluminium suite. And he took me to Sapa, and we sat there in the drawing rooms looking at drawings and stuff, and it was great because we had all these thermal break ideas and all these big unit sizes and beads and stuff. And I loved it. And nowadays, with all the kind of computer way of designing stuff, you can do it from home. But to be in a drawing office, bear in mind, I knew how dyes worked. I knew what. To be fair, nowadays you couldn't really do multi-chamber aluminium because the dyes just couldn't handle them at the time. They were still smaller. And I loved it. I would really, but I couldn't tell you I's and Z values. I couldn't tell you all the bendy values and stuff. But that's the engineering part of it. It's the clever bit that all goes behind it.
I think this is where the debate gets missed. I mean, because the labour shortage is a very obvious.
I could take this so deep, so I'm just going to shut up.
No, listen. You take it. This is the whole point of this stuff, to take it wherever you want. But all I'm saying is the labour shortage is the famous problem that every sector's got. But we are short of other things as well. You know, as I was just saying, drivers, fabricators, people on the factory floors at systems companies, pickers, communication people, marketeers. We are short of everything. So when we're saying come work in Fenestration, what we're not saying is just come as a fitter. We were saying fitters one option, drivers another, fabricators another, sales is another. Go on, Kev.
The other thing to worry about is panic. You don't want to kind of panic to get people because trying to train them up stresses them out. And they say, I'll go somewhere else easier. You've got to... Again, I don't necessarily... If you can get person to come in and just treat them gently and explain them, then they'll get to like it.
Yeah.
And you've got to get them to like it before they kind
Don't
of
go 150 mile an hour straight away because you'll kill them. But I mean,
it happens. It happens. I think we probably lose more people by doing that than we gain. The amount of people who go to a job and say, right, you do this, get on with it.
We've had quite a lot of comments in the meantime. So we've got...
how many people understand what fenestration is?
Here's a thing. Now, I'm going to blow my own trumpet here. Say that again.
You're going to go bend me back?
No. What I'm going to say was...
1 in 10?
When I joined the industry and started DGB, everyone was calling it the window and door industry. And then I heard the word fenestration mentioned in conversation. And do you know what? I was 20? And even at that point, I mean, I worked in windows and doors. I didn't know what's the fuck's fenestration. So I Googled it. I thought, fuck me, it's windows and doors. Fair enough. Okay, right. And ever since, I've worked into my content fenestration and whether it's got anything to do with what people have read in what I've written or not. But I would like to think I've contributed to people using the word fenestration a lot more. And then we did the NFA's National Fenestration.
Yeah.
Is it French? It sounds French. It might be French. I have no idea. But that's not a bad shout. Is understanding what fenestration is. I just want to go through some of these comments just while I've got them in front of me. Yeah. So Samantha was saying it needs to be opportunities of all levels across the industry, which is what we've just been talking about. John Vanston.
Well, to be fair, can I just take John Vanston's there?
That was Samantha Hill. It needs to be opportunities across all levels of the industry. That was Sam from Thermosil.
I remember you saying that John Vanston said that it was mandatory technical compliance 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So for about 15 years or so, it was minimum technical compliance.
But we're splitting hairs here. We're splitting, right, okay, so yeah.
No! That's the whole point. The whole thinking behind it's so thin.
You're going to love him here. He's told you, he's saying here fenestration is Latin. There you go. So.
Oh, is it Latin? I'll take that.
It comes from the word fenestra, so there you go. So this is from John. When I went around the country for the roofing industry in 2019, speaking to installers, he said the number one reason for working in roofing was working as a team. Now, that goes back to your point, Kev, about you saying installers see themselves as individuals and doing their own thing. If we had a more team... Actually, John, you've led me on to a nice segue there. I know of all the segues we've gone on, the one thing I've always had an issue with, and I think unless this changes, we probably won't make much progress. But for an industry that isn't particularly massive... We're an incredibly fractured, divided industry in that, you know, I've worked with people on my website who say, if you work with them, I won't work with you. Or if you do this, I won't do that. Well, you're associated with them, so I can't be associated with you. What help is that? We've got an industry which is not particularly massive, but you've got so many industry bodies and fabricators and bits of cliques of the sector and circles of people and here and there who won't interact with each other, who won't work with each other. And when you've got such a fractious, angry, backstabby environment, what kind of ground does that breed for the sector to actually be able to work together? It doesn't, by the way. It doesn't allow you to work together at all. But until we sort our own house out, I don't think we can come up. I don't think we could go to the world and come out with a unified message until we learn to work with each other properly.
Interesting, but do you know that because John said it was Latin, I looked it up, and it could well be. But fenetra, which is all part of it in French, is female. Well, there you go.
Window in French is la fenêtre. Okay, fair enough.
But window in French is female.
See, we're even arguing. Look about semantics of the word fenestration. But I mean, I know Lee and Nigel. We've spoke about this in the past, probably as well. We're such for a small industry. We're such a fractured, divided industry where, I mean, I have literally had conversations with people where they've said, if you work with them, I won't work with you. I mean,
can I say, I've always said it, and I've always said to you, whenever I use the word window industry, the word industry, I always put in commas, because I don't see it. I see chains of people who work together.
Yeah.
I see lots of chains of people who work together well. Supply chain, well, not at the moment, obviously, but honesty permitted. But generally, there are lots of groups of people who can work to produce an outcome. But in industry, I don't kind of get it, because they're all in competition. There's no real kind of, I just don't see it. Commercially, yes, I think there's a lot of technical detail that's shared, and there's a lot of people who know a lot of people.
No, I don't think there is. No, I don't think there is, because you've got, I mean, I'll give you an example. So, I could give you two, actually. I'm just trying to think what I'm going to use. All right, so in terms of working together, I know of a particular trade body who approached others that they do not get on with at all, for a number of reasons. And it was to do with, I think, with the current building regs that are being sort of ironed out right now. And
oh, I love them.
Yeah, don't we all? So we love him to pieces. Nigel does. He's fine. So the point was made to me that when the olive branch was approached to everybody else with the argument that if we all come to government with a unified voice on this particular point, we'll have a bigger and better impact and we'll get the result we want. When it came to working together on trying to give a unified message to government on this particular part of building regs that was trying to build influence, could they join together? Fuck no, could they not? They could not put aside personal differences. They could not put aside ideological differences. So in the end, no progress was made. And the other sort of opposite example was given to me that I know someone who works in the roofing sector, and it's even smaller sector than ours. In terms of GDP value, it's not as big as windows. But he said the advantage they have got is there are competing companies and there's competing organisations, which is normal. You're allowed competition in sectors. But when it comes to influencing things, when it comes to speaking with government, for example, they all come together. They all put differences aside and go, right, this particular issue is important. Let's get a unified voice on it. Then we can influence it better. Does this happen in Windows? Does it bollocks? And that's why government doesn't take us seriously. That's why government doesn't take us seriously, because you've got about 75,000 different bodies all saying different things, and which means government looks at us and goes, well, they ain't got their shit together, so why are we going to listen to them?
Correct. Absolutely correct. But I've just thought of how to solve the problem with building regs.
Scrap them.
No. All this shit about technical detail of saving at 1 degree here and 1 inch there and all this shit. Right. You buy windows, they have to stay in that house for 20 years. End of.
Yeah, Kev, what if my customer gets bored of his grey windows, though, in 10 years' time and he wants to buy some more? I'm shagged.
Tough shit. You can't do it. The world won't take it because it's waste. The windows will last 20 years. They can't be taken out for 20 years. Fit the ones you want to fit.
To be fair,
it weeds out the shit as well. Don't forget.
To be fair,
Simple.
I don't think the windows we take out are younger than 20 years. A lot of the windows we take out are older than 20 years anyway.
I'd agree with that. To it, apart from the problem is, then you've got people like, if I bought an house and someone had fitted the worst windows, they've gone for the cheapest, shittest windows.
You don't buy the house, so then someone's going to put better windows in to start with.
Yeah, but Kev, what if it's a nice lake house with an amazing view and everything's perfect, but the windows are crap and you want to change them?
Tough shit. You live with them.
No, the majority of homeowners don't have a fucking clue.
They don't. So if you tell them, those windows there, when you sell that house, are going to stay in for another how long? They're going to put decent windows in, right?
Well,
and then they can't change them for another 25 years. That's fine. because the planet's going to cope with it for 25 years.
To be fair, Jason,
That's a good
we're
call.
discussing this about your house. On your estate, is there not already certain stipulations with the builders that you're not allowed to change something for so many years? So they are starting to already...
No. So
that's...
No, so I spoke to the one of the big guys from Redrow was on site when I moved
They
in.
said Deceuninck was absolutely fantastic. You can put it in wherever you want.
So good lad. Well, I love it. I love it. So the reason
I got a Redrow house as well. So
good man. Oh, see,
My mate Steve Morgan, he lives around the corner.
he's
a twat.
He's
Absolutely.
So there's covenants on new houses, and I had quite a frank and honest conversation with a couple of the staff that were here, and they said the covenant is nothing other than a binder for homeowners. So most phases of houses take 2 or 3 years to build, and what they don't want is the people who were brand new right at the beginning. So we were like the third people on the entire estate to move in. Like there were no houses built around us when we moved in. And we were explaining that the covenant isn't really there for any other reason to stop you making major modifications to your house early, so that when they are trying to sell houses further on the estate, that some new owner comes in and goes, I like their front door, or I like their veranda, or I like their decalu bifolds they've put in. And they can go, well, no, actually, we don't sell those. That guy's just changed them very quickly, and we don't want the headache of trying to explain that to you. That is literally the covenant. That's why they only last 3 years. Because by the time 3 years is up, they've gone, and it doesn't matter. I mean, I've put these in. I mean, I've still got time left on my covenant, so I'm nobody cares. Honestly, nobody actually...
I'm going to report you. You're a bad lad. Those old doors could have lasted 30 years. You're ruining the environment, lad.
Trust me, Kev, the quality of those...
The new ones are going to last 50 years.
I'm going to say that they'll last a lot longer than that. The ones I had beforehand were... I mean, I had the company out 4 times to adjust them. And then I said, shit to this. I'm sick of this anyway. And
that's the problem. The industry hasn't got the right service engineers.
No, Kev. My particular problem was those didn't have the right bloody hinges on them for a start off. That was a problem. So
Chinese hinges.
So
yeah. He had a from China, Nigel.
He had a massive threshold, which is no good when you've got toddlers. I'd had my garden redone, and I thought, I don't want French doors and side lights. I want to slide the whole thing across and see the bloody thing I've paid for. Ooh. Okay. And
You're a tart. You're a tart.
I'm a what?
Tart.
A tart.
Tart. Want low threshold and seeing through your doors? Get out. You'll want no scratches on your glass next.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice.
For customers.
Who'd have them?
Sell the house. They want new doors.
Yeah, listen. We've talked about this on the past. I bought a new house, I bought a new house at great expense, and they've put shit windows in. Would you buy a 300 grand car and expect to have plastic wheel trims put on, or a door? You just wouldn't do it. Why buy an expensive new house? Nigel, you bought a new house, Redrow. I assume you want to rip your doors out already, unless you haven't done already.
Yeah, they're shit.
Yeah, there you go.
IG doors. So I'm having a new a Deceuninck front door and back door. Yeah.
There you go.
So,
and how long have you been in the house?
10 years.
Kev, there you go. Answer.
Well, yeah, that's okay. Because in my building regs, in 10 years' time, they can change them. No problem. Fucking hell.
Kev, you need to install our doors now because we don't need to.
I've got to be honest.
Don't worry, Kev. Don't worry.
I don't put a 20-year guarantee on all the stuff we've done, but most of it lasts quite easily 20 years.
Of course, listen. Anything, whether it's PVC or aluminium, if you buy a good enough quality, it will last way beyond 20 years. I mean, we've been going 40 years. For the first few years, we started off doing wood, And then when PVC came along, we changed to PVC. And we've got 30-odd-year-old PVC out there that is mechanically functioning fine. Yes, it looks a bit dated because it's 30-odd years old, but mechanically it's fine. But you get what you pay for. And Kev, my argument is the new builds that are being built are being fitted with the basic, crappiest, shittest stuff because they're creaming every penny of profit out of the build, and the sacrifice. And this is what frustrates me as a window person. And I'm seeing this through a biased view because I'm a window person. But I'm buying an expensive, brand new detached house and having the things that keep the heating and the burglars out cheaped out on. That's what frustrates me.
The same all the way through new builds, though. They're the same with the boilers and.
I know that, but my front door and my back door is the first barrier to burglars getting through. And then when I'm worried about whether they will lock or not, that's a problem.
Lee's shrinking, but we'll let him get away with that. But I did a job. Oh,
I'm getting more relaxed as the night's going on.
There you go. He's back again.
Leo, I thought you'd gone to sleep.
Did you hear me snoring?
Oh, he snores like a bugger.
I did a job about 6 months ago, right, for a contract that we fitted, where I had to, I didn't have to, but I cut out the silicone on the outside and I repointed them. It was a house full of windows. That contract was OW 001 that we fitted in 1991.
Wow. So when was that? 6 months ago?
Fine. We cleaned them all up and we repointed them. Customer was delighted.
So that's 30 years ago.
That was 30 years ago, our first ever contract. And we got that contract. We've done bits on a weekend, as you do when you start up. Our first ever contract, we went into the bank and said, we need to have an account, please. We want to start a business. This is it. And when we started with the bank, said, I need windows. And she was our first contract. And then we bumped into a guy in the village who said, and we sold the conservatory. And that was OW 100 or something like that. And he was our first ever conservatory. And he was our bank manager, and he is still our bank manager.
But no, that's fantastic. You've maintained those relationships. You
all the way along. We've done that because we work with someone we trust. Now, here's the guy. You come across him, Robbo, with Festa.
Paul Roberts. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
We first bought panels off him when he worked out a place in Mould. Then he ended up going to Griffin down in South Wales. We followed him there. Then he worked for someone else. We followed him there. And he's moved around a bit.
Have you seen his doors at Festa?
Guy. He's straight as a die. And we bought. I haven't got the Festa stuff yet. That's a bit out of our.
You need, mate. Listen, you need to go to his showroom. It's like Candyland. It's amazing.
I've always thought the name was an issue.
Why?
Well, Festa.
No, no, get past that. There's a really good.
No,
he's a good guy.
No, I'm sure they're great doors. Sorry?
He's a cracking guy in the product.
He is.
Paul's fantastic.
But Festa comes from, it's Eastern Europe. I want to say Slovakia or Bosnia.
That's kind of one of the things where European words don't necessarily work.
But anyway. Go on.
It's a lovely door. It's a look.
I love them. The pivot doors. They cost about 15 grand, but they're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah, but I can't sell one of them.
Why not?
You've got to have been working with this stuff to know that stuff, to have the confidence in that stuff, to sell that stuff. And I've got so much confidence in what I sell and what I do and what I edit. That's fine. But the minute you start stepping out in your zone, that's what salesmen do it all the time. I know they do. I know salesmen do it all the time. But I'm backing it up, right? A salesman can go in there and sell shit and walk away and someone else has to sort it out. I have to back it up. And that's a big difference in what I do to a lot of other people.
No, and that's a fair point. The business you are, you're the guy who does everything. I mean, for a bit...
I know that feeling.
For a bit...
there's others I can bounce off and rely on, and I can go on holiday, and it's all covered. That's fine.
See, we've looked at where we are. So we've been going 40 years. We're a £1 million business.
Yeah, we are.
And we're at the higher end of what we do. And I'm looking at products like Festas because, you see, for me, I see the better profit margins in the higher end stuff. The higher end alley bifolds, the big entrance doors, the big sort of architectural glaze stuff. That ticks my box. I'm all on board for that. And I went to Festa's showroom before it was finished. It should be finished now, I think. And I've said to Paul to give me a shout, and I'll go back when it's finished. So I went when it were part finished, and some of the doors on there are absolutely staggering. I mean, twice the size of me, like 1.2 wide on a pivot with fingerprint tech, and they're going. But the idea is you don't sell lots of those; you sell a few of those into the right houses, and you make a very, very, very good margin on them.
Yeah.
You've got a question about the bifolds, by the way.
You've got a question about the bifolds. Yeah, go on.
No, you had one.
You what?
I've got a question on YouTube about the bifolds.
Oh, sorry. What's the sight line? Hold on. Nigel, do you want to ask this, or do you want me to get tape measure out?
120.
120 is the sight line of the...
That's 120 millimetre.
There to there.
Not inches.
Inches?
Not that I know it.
You metric guys. You metric guys, you do my head in.
You modern people with you and your millimetres and centimetres. Have you heard Boris?
4 inches.
Have you? Have you heard?
125.
I read a story. Boris Johnson wanted to start bringing back in education of the imperial measures. Is that?
That's fantastic. I'll start believing it again.
No.
I'm 53, so I was right in the middle. So I was literally stuck there going, "Is it pounds and ounces?" Or
what's wrong with decimals? Everything's based around 100. That's it.
No, 16s.
No,
16s? Nah, man.
Yeah. Go to imperials. It's 16s.
Yeah. The problem ain't with decimals. The problem ain't with imperial. The problem's with Johnson.
Well,
no. The problem is we've all just got to get on with it and just make money and just not worry about it.
There's nothing we can do, Kev, unfortunately, about Boris Johnson, and whether you like it or not, he's got that big a majority.
Don't matter it's Boris, don't matter it's anybody else. We have the same shit.
Yes, no one's better. No one's better. And I tell you what, we've got Boris for another probably 8 years because he's got that big a majority. He ain't gonna win. You know, even if there's a shit election next time, he's still gonna beat PM. So
it's fucking sad, isn't it?
He's got. I think one of the.
I know we're business people. I know we're on the one of business scene, but there's got to be a social context to some of this shit. And just to sat there writing checks to your mates is just fucking shit. It always happens. I know it is.
Listen, Kev.
Sometimes
it's happening around
Kev,
the world.
Don't get me on this because you get Labour government in. It won't be much difference.
No.
What we're in. So,
do you remember the plan?
Shit.
Do you remember
the same shit?
Yeah, it'll be the same shit.
Oh, I know.
Do you remember the plan when Jeremy Corbyn wanted to give every household brand new windows and doors? Remember that?
Yeah, I'm glad he got shot.
Okay. So in hindsight, we worked out. I spoke with the fabricator, and he said to make that plan work, he would have had to quadruple capacity overnight. Okay, so look at how badly we have done with the uptick in demand we've done now, and we are not retrofitting every house in England and Britain within 10 years. Can you imagine the shit would be under in that plan?
No, what you've got to remember is
sitting on the M25.
that would be
No, you can't do this.
No, what you've got to remember is that would be a promise for an election, right? And they fucking ignore them anyway. Yeah. So it wouldn't have happened, right? So it doesn't matter.
I was speaking to a fabricator. We're doing about, I think he was saying about doing about 6,500 frames a week. He was a big fabricator. And he said to do what that plan would have required, it would have needed to quadruple. So we needed to done 16, 30, 26,000 frames a week.
But the problem problem is, he wasted how much time working that out because he knew it's a fucking lie anyway.
No, I know.
And it's just the craziest thing.
I know.
There you go.
I know. But, I mean, look,
It's bloody hilarious. And we always get blamed. We always get blamed as an industry. We always get blamed because we're not doing enough and we're not doing it the right way and we're doing it.
Do you know what though? With the social and sustainability thing, Kev's got a point though. I mean, whether it's aluminium or PVC, and we can debate about how you measure energy efficiency, but there's no doubt in the fact that better windows increase the energy efficiency of a house. Okay, we know that. I mean, there is an advantage here, and this goes back to Nigel's point about the next few years and how things are going to be. There's a big marketing advantage here, and Lee, this is up your alley. With COP26 coming, and sustainability is going to be the running theme throughout the next 10 years. We've got a part to play in this in terms of insulating Britain's homes and keeping heat inside. We've got a part to play in this. This is a very good opportunity for us, yeah. Oh, Kev's unsure here. Look at Kev's reactions unsure here. Go on, pal.
No, yes, we do. The trouble is, it's all skewed massively by this corrupt fucking GGF shit.
No, I know that.
If we just had U values and said, this unit is this, bang, off we go.
Yeah, I know. But we're not right. Okay, yeah, we're set that aside for a minute. But from mine and yours point of view, me and you both know that the windows we put in people's houses are warmer than the last generation of windows, yeah?
Okay, right. Agreed. But I also think it takes more energy to produce a window to last 20 years that would take out the 20-year lasting of the previous generation of windows. You've got to let a window last its lifetime before you change it.
So is it possible?
I'll grant you, but quantifying that and qualifying that is fucking damn near impossible.
So is it possible for us to know what? I mean, Nigel, you might be. I've not. You may or may.
No, you can't.
Do we? Is there a way we can know what the carbon footprint of making a window or door is?
Yes.
Do we know it then? Do we know it?
No, there is, and
go on.
I know Deceuninck as a corporate entity have looked at it, and I still find it really hard to argue against anything where every item has an infinite life, and can we recycle it has become the main thing now, and we can recycle old PVC, we can recycle aluminium as it is. So what we've got to think about it is not how bad or how good things are. We've got to look at how can we recycle the old stuff to get it back into working,
so that we don't use virgin materials.
No. The big thing, right? And this came across at the do last week, right? At the Glazing Summit, where people were getting really upset about, you're using recycled content. It's like,
why are people getting upset by it?
Yeah. So I would rather have more recycled content.
100%, yeah.
Totally. So we need to understand that. Give us recycled content, right? Aluminium, right? There's only 70% of the aluminium. 70% of the aluminium ever created is still being used, right? So we just need to recycle shit, and people need to understand that no matter how much and how hard it is, UPVC, we can grind it, we can use it for reinforcement, we can do stuff. Let's everyone understand it.
Go on, Kev. Yeah, of course you can.
Really excited.
Yeah.
So
go on, Kev. Go on.
Can I argue that we don't fucking recycle shit? We just reuse it. If we don't fucking take the shit out in the first place, we save billions of pounds worth of fucking stuff we didn't need to make.
Yeah, but what Nigel's saying is every product.
It's wrong, but it's not going to lose as much energy over the fucking 5-10 years.
No, but Nigel's point is
to make it.
Every product's got an infinite life, and when it comes to the
no, every product's got a finite life.
Finite life, yeah.
It's got a design. If it was an infinite life, I can't be
No,
happy.
I know. Sorry, I meant finite. What Nigel's point,
yeah.
Nigel was saying, every product, whether it's PVC, aluminium, timber, steel, whatever, every product's got a finite lifespan. And,
Yes.
And what
But
Nigel's
the
saying
products
is,
don't actually achieve that lifespan. They don't.
I
They get
agree,
taken
I
out.
agree with Kev here. But the problem is, and this is always going to be the problem with the discussions about climate change and what we can do and saving the earth. We're fighting against capitalism while trying to do the right thing, and you can't do it because the point is exactly argues against what you're saying there, Kev. Is if we do that, there's less business and less materials being sold by companies, and it's an infinite argument of you can't have both.
Oh man, shit's gonna happen, right? Shit is really gonna happen at some point, and you can't go headlong into fucking knowing things. Oh, it's not our problem. No problem. Right, I've got a grandson in there, right? Jason, you've got kids, say. John, Nigel's got kids who are going to have kids.
I've got a grandson.
Whatever.
oh,
But we're just kicking the ball down the road. And I'm no environmentalist. I really don't get this stuff. But there's got to be a level of sustainability.
But-
we haven't got the labour. We haven't got the labour to carry on the economic thing we're doing now.
but
So,
surely, okay, so take,
I ain't got the answers.
No,
Don't get me wrong.
so if whether we agree with it or not, the way the world at the moment is going to remain as it is. So is it better that we not? I mean, I actually, Kev's point is valid. However, that is not the reality. So we have to work with the reality and not with what we think would be nice to have. So
I'm in the system.
everyone's in the system, and the system is the reality we've got right now. So the reality is, from my point of view, is we have to recycle everything that is in the system now has to be recycled and reused again, rather than using virgin, brand new, pulled out of the ground, highly pollutant, deadly toxic. All the aluminium, and this goes with PVC. Everything that is in the system now should be reused again.
I'd argue
The circular economy.
Yeah, but that's taking a product that has more serviceable life, chopping it up to try and make it use in something else. Whereas, how many of the windows do your lads take out and bring back to the yard, the skip, that are in full PVC windows?
Yeah,
No, we as a
There's lots of them.
Hold
that will
on,
fit on
Kev.
a hole.
Go on, Nigel.
no, we as a business buy old PVC windows that have been ripped out and take them back to Belgium and we recycle them, we regrind them and we do it, right? And
Hold on, Kev.
we as a business, and this isn't me being the big like corporate animal, because I'm not, are massively into sustainability. And if you think about our business, which is 900 million euros, like globally, we have got a massive sustainability issue where we need to take back into our business the UPVC product that is being taken out, right?
Yeah.
So we regrind it, we take it back in. So there is from a corporate perspective, we really, really care about sustainability, and we really worry about how we're going to make and take the shite out of the environment and put it back in and grind it and put it back into a product.
Okay.
And then, right, we've decided to go into aluminium, right, which is a nightmare from the beginning, right? But for now, right, we want to be a sustainable business, and that is key. And most of the businesses in the aluminium and the window business globally want to be sustainable, and we are all about trying to make the world better.
Yeah.
Right.
And their end is the lesson.
Right.
Go on, Kev.
Can I love that, and it's totally true. But if rather than take all the frames and the glass and the stuff that comes out, would be to find somewhere that went, right? And the trouble there is the cost of labour to clean the stuff up and to then refit it, and then to find someone who'd accept it as a window product because the window products that they already got are decent, means that it's just not worthwhile. So,
but that's a social concept, Kev. Not that's not a.
When you talk about the people that need to do that, so what we're going to do, we're going to take those people to one side and not employ them and do something else. What we're looking at is a full cycle of creating a UPVC product, put it into a wall. It's coming out again, and we're hopefully putting aluminium in because that's what I do, right? and then we grind it, right? And then we use the UPVC, right, as reinforcement, or 40% of the profile we make or we extrude afterwards. So we literally are looking at a fully sustainable program.
No,
and no, we are. But if you look at, right, we started putting UPVC in 30 years ago, right? Did you or I? 30 years ago, I was 20 years of age, right? I didn't give a flying fuck about sustainability when I was 20 years of age, right? I didn't care. All I cared about was shagging somebody that was down the road and like making money, right? Now I'm looking at it and going, actually, right? How can I make what I did 20 years ago or 30 years ago have value, right? So what we're looking at is trying to change that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and as a business, we're doing it. And look at the numbers. We're doing it.
You're doing the best. You're doing your best you can, Nigel. But this is.
Yeah.
I agree with Kev on this. There's an elephant in the room, not just in this industry, in the world, where companies
cutting the stuff up.
Certain companies are doing the best that they can do, whilst being a company to make money.
Yeah. Now
we seem to be doing it.
And here's the elephant in the room: is saving the planet and capitalism don't sit hand in hand. No. And if it did, we wouldn't be replacing the most. And Kev's right, but there is the problem: is you can't stop the industry because of capitalism, and everyone wants to make money.
And
here's the big problem:
it's cyclable,
big elephant.
It's cyclable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So do I now say to you, right? You're now going to have aluminium windows, right? Every house should have aluminium windows because, from an environmental perspective, it's better for you.
So
what you say?
Oh,
you breathe, Jace. You've missed the space. What you say is that when you put windows in, they stay there for 25 years.
So
that's
right,
it.
Okay, so.
That's it.
No,
No, you're right.
Absolutely right. So, God, we're about to encroach here at a very late hour, a very, very deep subject, which I don't really want to start at 20 to midnight because this needs to end soon.
There's still 6 online.
But to enforce a kind of rule like that would be to take away someone's choice to modify their house,
It's gonna happen. At some point in the future, you've got to say, fuck him, you can't do this. You can't have a car. You can't have a petrol engine. It's going to happen.
Serious.
Wait, listen.
All joking aside, he is right. It is going to get to a point, maybe not in our lifetime, but you look at people like Elon Musk. He's looking for life to get to another planet to sustain life.
I know.
You know you've got serious problems when we're not taking it serious.
But listen.
It's capitalism. It's not going to work
on Mars.
Listen. If we
have to go to the loo, sorry.
No worries, that's fine. We're going to wrap.
6 pints to get rid of, so it might be a little while.
We're going to wrap. Listen, it's getting on. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes.
Crappy.
But what I'm saying is,
offline, I might get the guitar out.
Kev, go to the toilet, man. Flipping heck. Right. So.
Can I bring it back down?
No, hold on. No, I need to say this. So.
Started.
What we're saying is, to impose restrictions on what people can and cannot do is the start of when governments start telling people. I mean, to the point where we're looking at socialism, communism.
Are you thinking that when we're wiping out diesel cars?
Oh, you coming? No, Lee's coming in back cars and stuff.
But we, at the moment, no, listen. At the moment, we're being told well in advance, like decades in advance, when diesel, petrol, fossil fuel cars are going to be killed off. But the
years, not decades, years.
10 years is a decade, isn't it? There you go. So,
10 years, really? Sooner than that, is it not?
No, 2030. The sale of new diesel and petrol cars is going to be banned by 2030.
Anyway.
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is,
let's get some more light-hearted stuff to finish off on.
It's 18 minutes to midnight, and I'm conscious we've taken Nigel's and Kevin's time.
I tell you what, I've enjoyed it.
Lee, give us a joke. Give us a joke, Lee.
Yeah, give us a joke. Go on.
Okay. Well, we've got to keep on Halloween ghost jokes, haven't we? What's a ghost's favourite dessert?
Go on.
Ice cream. It's Halloween. Come on.
Do you know what? I
weren't even prepared for that.
Do you know what? We've gone nearly 4 hours and not a single one of you has mentioned my braids.
Yeah, turn round. Have you still got that little thing on the back of your head?
Rat tail.
Yeah.
He's like Rodney off Only Fools and Horses.
No, I'll tell you what, I watched...
Go on, Dave, turn round.
We've watched the end of Vikings. End of the Vikings, by the way. If you haven't watched that, it's a right series. But they've all got top knots, so they've all got braids in it. I thought, do you know what? Bugger it, I'll give it a try, and I quite like it, so I'm sticking with it. For Winnie's event, by the way, Lee, I'm having loads put in. I've got a new suit. I'm gonna have a new hairstyle.
I'm bringing some scissors for when you're drunk.
Right, I need to say something. My wife has come upstairs to go to bed.
Tell you what, that might be a good time to wrap it. It's midnight. We've.
As well.
I want to thank Lee. Should we wrap it up, because I think it's midnight, so. It's quite late for everybody.
Is Kev going to play us out with a guitar tune as we finish?
Shit. Can he actually edit the YouTube to just cut the back end of it off?
No, mate, this is going out live, pal.
No, just play it.
Okay. Yeah, it's late enough to think I'm pissed enough.
Okay, go on, good lad.
I'll say it as well. Thank you, Nigel. Nigel, Kev. Two very honest people from different...
It's been very good tonight. It's been one of the best ones.
Fantastic.
It's been one of the best ones.
I've really enjoyed it tonight.
It's been belting. It's been absolutely belting. Nigel, I'll hit you up on some Six Nation tickets if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll give you a shout.
I don't know if this will work, because I've got an amplifier that might get heard by the...
Turn it right down. Turn it right down. Nigel, if you want to head off, pal, don't just do.
No, I want to watch it. I want to watch him now.
Okay, fair enough. Right. So in a first for the podcast, Kev is going to play us out.
Brilliant.
Play us out.
I remember seeing Alan Fielder doing something like this.
Okay.
It may be on one of the RCG things years ago, and it was great. But this isn't going to be.
Go on, Kev. Go on, Kev.
I've got to turn some things on first.
No. Oh, wow.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, we can hear it. Yep.
It's a new one.
Yeah.
No. Turn it up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, this is shit, but no one...
Oh, can't hear it.
Right, I'm off.
Kev, right. Can't hear it. Nigel, thank you very much for your time. Take care of yourself and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Take care. Take care.
Cheers, Nigel. Kev, we need to turn it up.
Oh, the fuck is
I had some lyrics in a bit. Have you heard the news? Have you heard the news?
We can still see you, Nigel.
I know. I'm starting to stress it out.
The car supply chain's broken down. Have you heard the news?
There you go.
Go on, Kev.
I got the supply chain blues. 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 I got those supply chain blues.
Yes, pal. Yes.
Go on, Kev. Go on.
Yeah, well, brilliant.
That's just stupid, man.
That's awesome. That's
Wonderful.
fantastic.
I'm scared of all that.
That's amazing.
Wonderful,
I
Kev.
really appreciate that, Kev.
I couldn't think of anything else to say. But
That's fantastic. Well, look, that's amazing.
Yeah, absolute pleasure, mate. You and Nigel have been tremendous.
no, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, I do. I mean, I love watching you guys and having the crack with you on the text, but it's all hard trying to.
We appreciate you giving up your Friday night to us tonight.
Well, I enjoy it. I felt a bit sorry for the guys on the text because I know what it feels like to be there bashing numbers at you whilst you guys are talking and you've got a point to make and it's hard to get it across.
It's hard because when you see a little bit what we do now, so when me and Lee are talking, we've also got, you know, if you see us looking away from screen for a moment, it's because we're checking comments, we're checking YouTube streams just to see what, you know, so we're trying to do two things at once, but it's, no, listen.
Absolutely. I've seen comments to me and I thought, I'm trying to find them, but
it's the more you do it, the more you get used to it. But listen, you and Nigel are more than welcome back as guests again. I think tonight has been really fun. I hope people have enjoyed watching it.
I think we probably got a bit serious, but it was industry stuff.
Yeah.
But reasonably well kind of reasoned.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah, fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. So. So thank you for your rendition.
Thank you very much, Kev. Pleasure. And thanks for playing us out with that. That was fantastic.
It wasn't. It was just shit, but yeah.
No, it weren't. It was good. It was good.
So
Supply Chain Blues, love it.
So just before we go, just before people head off, for anybody who's watching, tickets are still available for the NFA Winners event, November the 6th, next Saturday. Get yourself there. It's going to be an awesome day. And we will see you 2 weeks from tonight.
And thanks for watching.
Take care.